start. I think we are live. All right, we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Survivor What If channel. My name's Richie. I'm your host for today. I'm here with my co-host for today.
Hello, I'm Alex Steib. Thank you for joining us on the What If channel.
Hello, I'm Sam Grove, also known as X Plus Sam, and I'm also here.
Hi, I'm Joey, and yep.
All right, so we are here today to talk about our first reactions and everything to Survivor 50, the first 2 episodes. I think I told some people this at some points. I wanted to try to do some more stuff with this channel covering Survivor during the season, as that's something I wasn't able to do a lot last season. But I'm hoping to do something like bi-weekly like this, where we get some of us get together and we also get to kind of just look around and talk about, hey, like, this is what's going on. So I definitely think it's a lot of fun stuff to talk about with Survivor 50 in general, because obviously I think a lot of people who have watched this channel know I was not initially thrilled with a good chunk of the cast. I mean, some of the people I've kind of changed my mind on since then, but I think, like, if you've been listening for a while, you know I was not too thrilled when I first saw the initial cast. Some of them had definitely have aged well. Some of them I'm definitely like, yeah, I don't think they should have been on. They should have been saved. But, I mean, I don't know. Before we get into talking about the season, anything you guys want to say about what you thought going into the season?
I thought it was a weird casting decision overall, generally speaking. It was like they had such a big pool to pull from. And I think the problem with Survivor right now is that they have so many people they want to come back and not enough spots. But, I mean, I'm excited for a majority of the cast. I think, like, going into it, I'm like, it should be a good cast. I think Carolyn was robbed from being on it. Like, there are a couple switches. Carolyn.
Oh, Carolyn. Yeah, Carolyn Weiger, and how they were... Like, I'll be completely honest. I'll say what not a lot of people will probably say. Carolyn was basically not on because Probst was upset she did Traitors. That's what it was. He wanted her first chance to be back in the game, to be Survivor 50, by some Survivor 50 or other Survivor game, and not Traitors, even though, if anything, it kind of helped Carolyn and probably put more attention on Survivor. So, like, I don't know. You probably should have looked at it as a marketing opportunity and not, yeah. But I agree.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the only, like, I don't really, like, for when it comes to old school players, I'm fine with them. Wasn't a big fan to see Aubrey play another time, but, like, it's whatever. And Ozzy, I also kind of was like, why are you back? You kind of are just, you kind of had your thing and you kind of lost it.
I mean, he's been in our screens in some ways, I'll tell you that much. Ayo.
Yeah. And then just the fact that between Survivor seasons 41 for 44, we have one representative.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, from seasons like 46 and like 49, I think there's like, what, 9 reps?
45, there's 2. 46, there's 3. I have to count this way because I'm not.
48 has 3, which is
48 has 3. I don't understand that pick.
7 has 1. Has 2. That's 11 from 45 to 49. Sorry, Stop. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
No, you're good. What I heard in the casting was that there was nobody from the 20s originally. Like, maybe there was, like, returnees that played in the 20s. But that's, yeah. And that's another thing that really I have to say. Ultimately, nothing in this world is perfect. So when it comes to returnee seasons on Survivor, that is certainly the case. And they will certainly almost always mess something up, whether it's a celebrity collab that nobody asked for, or whether it's bringing back people that nobody asked for.
Sorry.
But ultimately, as you can see by my cute little title, I primarily watched the old era growing up. And then I actually took a hiatus from watching the show in the new era from like 42 to 48. So it is kind of fun in that regard from my perspective, because I am able to I'm able to watch this game of all these legends and watch these legends come back and play with new people that I haven't seen play, and they can add their own little chaotic nature to it. Like somebody like Q, for example. Like, I had never seen his season before this, and he's certainly one of the most captivating people thus far, but we'll get to him more later. So
I definitely will say there are some new era casting picks that I understand and even applaud them. Like, they actually make sense. Like Genevieve and Q, I definitely think makes sense. Some people are going to probably hate me for saying this. I think Charlie as a pick makes sense because, like, obviously, Like he basically he lost a very controversial final tribal that was in recent memory. I mean, of course, they kind of did the same thing in Winners at War with Wendell, like a very controversial vote where people were like, oh, Dominic should have won. No, Wendell should have won. So it was kind of like a lot of back and forth and like debates that came up with it. So I definitely get that. I mean, Dee and Emily, I can definitely understand why they'd want them back. But then you also get to some people like a Tiffany or like I don't want to say too much on Rizzo and Savannah because the more 50s going on, the more I'm kind of like, yeah, like I actually like kind of like that they're on the cast, but it kind of feels like they both should have been saved for a different season. I mean, especially because it's kind of like I don't know. I mean, we'll get all into it too. I will say, and I always iterate this every time that I try not to put shade on the players because they're the ones that are just saying yes to the call. Like, I'm not going to like get mad at them for saying yes to a call to come back and get some money by just appearing on TV. They did get the round Jonathan though. That is my professional opinion. They should have done better. And I do agree with that. Ozzy, I don't really get why Ozzy's back on when we could have had someone else like Jesse, Sean Rector, who else could we have gotten? Like Davey from David versus Goliath, I would have loved to have seen back on. We could have had, I mean, even Cody, like from 43, I would have loved to see back on. Shane and Ricard, like there were so many picks that we didn't get. I don't know. I mean, I'm still not
saying is there's enough names for another returning season.
Oh, there is.
Hope we see another one.
Jeff doesn't think that there's enough players with the drive and the fight to want to come back in the game. And I'm just like, Jeff, shut the fuck up. Like, no shade, but like that was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard Jeff Probst say. And I'm like, Jeff, come on, you know they want to come back. If you like, I think he needs to admit it if he wants to do returning player seasons or not, because it doesn't seem like he wants to do it, but he's trying to just make up excuses for it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I love Jeff Probst, but I think he might need to co-host a couple seasons or step down as EP and give it to someone else because it's very clear some people are not liking his creative decisions for a reason. But sorry, any other general thoughts I want to go into before we start going into the episode itself?
No, let's get it.
That was the most awkward silence I've ever heard. So I'm just kind of going through the episode. I have it on my phone just to make sure I remember in case I forget something. But we start off Survivor 50 with one of the longest fucking intros I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Granted, I have autism and ADHD, so granted, it's also part of this. So fucking long. It's basically them going to the plane. You see Coach kind of quote, I think it was Magellan, right? He's quoting Magellan as he's getting on the plane. And then you see Jenna Lewis kind of sitting there. And then she just kind of closes her eyes, opens them back up, and she's on the boat, which I do think that was a cool opening. They get off the boat. Jeff's doing his normal, like, oh, welcome back to the game. He's just kind of like, yeah. And then they get Jonathan calling him Mr. Jeff, not even 10 minutes in the fucking... I'm not ready for Jonathan this season, I swear to God. I'm sure outside the game he's a nice person, but like... I mean, he's enthusiastic. I'll give him that. Anyways, so yeah. So then we kind of get to the first big thing where they said there were like fan votes or whatever that they were gonna do, and that one of the big things was that they were voting on whether they just get their supplies at the start of the game, and whether they're gonna get like rice or anything like that. And they're like, the fans voted, and very narrow vote. He adds, the fans voted to make you earn it and make you work for it, which I mean, that's such bullshit because I don't think a lot of people really wanted that. I mean, for me at least, and I'll pass off to y'all in a minute for this, but like, I didn't like it that they did that because the fans voted for it. Because let's be honest, I genuinely predicted this months ago that they were just going to shove in the new era crap they wanted to shove in and claim it's what the fans wanted to get what they want regardless and phrase it in a way to get what they wanted. I didn't like it so much only because I feel like it takes away from a lot of screen time that could be devoted to camp life, showing the alliances that form, catching up, getting confessionals with people, showing what's going on. But no, we had to spend 20 minutes. We had to spend like 20, 30 minutes at these two random challenges, which don't matter the most in the grand scheme of things. It kind of does for what comes up later. But this first part alone doesn't feel like it really matters a lot because it never really does. It's a little conflict of like, oh my gosh, we may not have our supplies, we may not have rice, but then it's kind of like, that's it. Like, I didn't like it, but I mean, what do you guys think about the first fan vote reveal with that?
Hello, it's me, the one who disagrees. So, frankly, because here's the thing, fan vote, you got to also take into account, it's not all like crazy super fans like us here who are voting. It's a lot of just people generally at home. And look, when you put a poll out and the options are help and hurt, more often than not, hurt's going to be the option that wins, especially if it's not like an actual big deal. Like, oh, bad, but it's like they have to work for it more and they have to do some more stuff.
So you're saying if there's a poll that says a child and the options are help or hurt, you would select hurt?
It's a different story. It's a different story.
I'm joking.
That's like saying give someone a nickel or like kick their shin and save this person or murder them. Like, you can't compare the two.
I mean, I can compare them. I was on Traders. I can compare it.
But what I would say though is I think especially for a marooning challenge as well, having some kind of stakes at a marooning challenge, it's entertainment. It's entertaining. Part of the reason I like Survivor is because of the challenge, because of the interplay. I think especially when you are starting a season, you need to start it with a bang and you need to start it with some actual fire play. And a marooning challenge, of course, is the way to do it. I think that was entertaining as hell. Just have like some kind of challenge get started. And also, it's a good litmus test at least beginning of the game coming in to recognize how the other players are going to either work together, how they're going to play together, how they're just going to act together. And kind of starting off with something like that kind of gives a chance for the players to begin. Now, the weird part though with it was the exile twist after the fact.
Yeah,
now, that was interesting. Yeah, however,
I'll get to that. We'll get to exile in a few minutes. But yeah, no, sorry, you can continue. I was just about to say we'll get to exile in a few minutes.
Oh yeah. But yeah, also I don't doubt that vote was 100%. Like truly, granted, I personally was like, no, give them rice. You know, they earn enough. But like most people are like, we want to see them actually try. And for some people, Survivor especially old era players, Survivor is about the survival aspect, wanting to survive. Versus we'll talk about this later. Rizzo cutting his finger. Yeah, biggest injury of the season.
Maybe he'll have to be medevac and have to do like a sob story scene about it.
But yeah, I've just pulled it up as well. Supplies, 53% of the vote. Very close.
Yeah, it was a very narrow, close vote. Like, that was not the vote. I was expecting it to be like if one or the other with like a big margin. I was not expecting it to be that close to like flipping over. Steib and Joey, what do you guys think?
I would say I agree with kind of Sam here, where I like the fact that you do they have to shut the fudge up. I don't know where you live. But no, just like think about it this way. It's season 50, all right? It's like this big milestone of a season. Most shows don't get to 50 seasons, but Survivor did. Okay, so like it's like Survivor 50. Let's show all this like cool past footage. Like I think that was cool. Let's get to the challenge. Let's get to like the beach and that's it. What would be more interesting? Don't be like, okay, you get rice, go to your camp, or okay, you need to fight for your rice and supplies. Like
they could have a challenge for fire and flint like they used to.
Bro, yeah. And also
it's like low impact.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, you don't get your flint. Well, fire actually is pretty. But like,
I will say, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I was just gonna say because I did watch some seasons of Australian Survivor this past year as well. And All Stars, I think, did it. That's the one thing Australian All Stars did right is that they had the opening challenge be for like a massive fire and shelter thing where they had like a pre-built shelter and a giant roaring fire at the camp for the winners of that first challenge. I think that's something that could have been really good for 50, seeing the like a tribe that wins gets a massive shelter built by production for you, as well as having a massive roaring fire and firewood at your camp. I think that could have been a very interesting thing, but sorry, you can go on. I was just mentioning that because that just popped in my head. I know my ADHD, I'm going to forget it. So sorry.
That's fair. I also like, if you think about Survivor and like people who like watched it beforehand, like before like they made it difficult, like how many of them do you actually think stuck through and kept watching? Like I feel like a lot of people got into Survivor with this new era. So it's like when you get the option of do you want what you've been watching or do you want what they used to do? Most people are going to be like, yeah, I want the stuff I've been watching because I like what I'm watching. So like I see why the vote was close. I honestly don't remember what I voted because, you know, I don't remember. But like it's still like one of those things where like I expected them to have to like fight for it because that's just like what they've been doing. So like people are gonna want to continue what they're doing because they obviously like what they're doing. Like the new people watching. But yeah, that's just I guess my opinion on it.
That's fair. Steib, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation with this its season titled "In the Hands of the Fans" because you know, of course, they're never going to put 100% control of everything in the hands of the fans. However, something like this twist about the rice and beans was ultimately expected, and I was expecting the fans to choose to not give them the food and the supplies. In all honesty, I believe that fans like to see people struggle on the original show of Survivor, and I believe that can still apply to this game today, even though it is a lot shorter nowadays. The seasons aren't nearly as long as they used to be. But I don't know. I was expecting no handouts from the fans, and I thought the first challenge I thought was pretty good. I don't know it. From the people that I was with for the watch party for episode 1, we were all believing that Orange Tribe, Sela, would probably be the most well-rounded challenger tribe.
That's what I thought too going in. Like I was fully expecting kind of like Vatu, the Pink Tribe, to kind of be like on death's doorstep going into the game because of the fact that like I mean the only real challenge. I mean Q's not the worst in challenges, but it's like let's be honest, he was on Yanu last time. I think it was with tribe named Yanu. And I mean, they sucked at challenges. And even Q being like the muscle man of that tribe didn't help them for shit.
It also doesn't help that one person couldn't climb up a ladder.
What?
Doesn't help that one person couldn't climb a ladder.
No, that was Lulu. That was Brandon in 45. Yeah.
Wait, is that not? Wait, am I being stupid? I think I pulled a stupid no moment. Continue. Oh wait, that's Jelinski. Oh my gosh.
Jelinski couldn't climb a ladder? Oh, maybe
No, Jelinski. No, I was thinking of someone else from I think 45.
Yeah, you were. Oh, Brandon.
Yeah. I got the trust. No, continue.
To find us.
You're good. Yeah, no. So like honestly, but then you get like someone like a Colby and a Kyle. Like Kyle's okay in Challenger. Like he's pretty good, and like if he's a muscle man, I don't know because then like Rizzo's not the best at Challengers. He's okay, but not the best. Colby, I think we've seen the last 2 times he's played, like he's okay, but clearly not the best compared to other people. And then on the women's side of that tribe, you'd have like someone like Angelina, who's okay, but then like Stephanie's kind of like the muscle woman of that tribe, I would say. Because you got Aubrey's good at puzzles, but then who's the other? Genevieve, who probably is the strongest woman up recently, or probably more well-rounded. But it's like so, like I thought Vatu was gonna lose, but we do get this first challenge where they have to like dig under a little pole, do some stuff, and then they send it over to the next group of people to go out and grab, like, do this puzzle piece thing. This like weird, like was it horizontal and vertical puzzle? I don't fucking know. They had to do a puzzle of sorts, and then they have to like to get an ore. They send the ores to the next group of people. They had to push a boat out to sea, grab something else. I think it was like a torch they had to grab out. They'd row back in the shore, give the torch to the final people in their tribe, and they'd have to try to push like a little like thing off. I don't know how they do it. It's like that springy core thing, and have to like push it off, and then they have to like get the bag, get the torch, light the torch, all of that. And Vatu ends up winning, which I was surprised with. Because going in, I was fully expecting them to lose. And so the fact that Vatu is just like seemingly one of the stronger tribes right off the gate was just shocking to me. And then they reveal that they're going to go on a journey, which, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised it didn't let us go, because if they let the fans vote on if they have journeys or not, if it's Exile Island, which we'll get to in a minute, I wouldn't mind. But the fact that it was kind of like this, like, forced journey thing is kind of just like, eh. I don't know. I mean, I always wish it was kind of like that they could choose if there will be anyone going at all, instead of just saying like you have to send one person there, because I think we've seen in recent seasons it always ends up with someone just losing their vote out of nowhere, them not really having autonomy to like say like let's, you know. But yeah, they've had to fight for their supplies on this journey, which fair enough. Vatu wins a roaring fire back at their camp, and then they send Q, Ozzy, and Coach to go do this little challenge where I think it's essentially like the cage and a stick one, where they have to essentially get like.
It's funny because
funny. Yeah, well,
it's really funny because this is a challenge. I'm pretty sure that was on South Pacific, or in Redemption Island. It was in one of the seasons of Redemption Island.
Christine and I think it was. I know Christine had to do it because like she dominated. I'm surprised they haven't brought Christine back at least once, by the way. But that's a different story, different time. Anyways, yeah, it's like they have to like get sticks, they have twine, you have to like put it together, try to create a little thing to get a key. I think they have this like special part of it now because you have to like do it while standing on this giant bamboo wall, which kind of feels a little dangerous.
I mean, you don't have to stand on it. Ozzy did that on his own.
I thought they had to.
You did not have to.
No, Coach and Q were not. It was just Ozzy.
The way the stick would go, because of the way he tied it, it would bend so much. So he had to do it in order to do that. I will say, there's something I want to mention as well about journeys specifically. Is that I like the journeys in moderation because it adds a little bit of difference. I think it works perfectly here. It's the start of the game, brand new stuff, especially with the earning thing already being, or especially with earning your tribes like materials being a thing. I really liked it. Granted, I also might be biased because what we got was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. In moderation, I don't think it's bad at all. But I think it's kind of like there are some seasons, like I think it was like 41, where like every single episode had like a giant journey that would take up like half the episode. I don't know. I do agree. In moderation, they're not as bad. I think they've scaled it back in more modern seasons compared to like 4 or 5 years ago. But we do get essentially this challenge there. It's kind of like the key one. You have to get the key off. And essentially there's like, I think Ozzy was close to getting it, but I think they tried to make an agreement at one point saying that like, hey, first person get it off the keyhole, like gets the key. Like they get their supplies for their tribe. And I think Coach, or not, I think it was Ozzy who may have gotten it off first, but then Coach is all like, fuck that. And then he just takes the key and is like, Ozzy's like, come on, dude. Like, I need this for my tribe.
It's so funny because both of them come into the season being like, I'm a new player. I'm going to do a new thing. And then the moment this challenge happens, both of them revert back to their old selves. Like immediately. Because both of them, they even try and make up at first. And then what happens is, of course, Coach is like, look, Coach is, in one word to describe how Coach plays, Coach is a hypocrite. Coach will say one thing and do the exact opposite because he's always out for himself, right? And especially
that's fair for Survivor. That's fair for Survivor.
It's fair for Survivor. Here's the thing. In the whole Aussie Coach beef here, I agree with Coach.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
He doesn't know you shit.
He
doesn't know you shit. But it's so funny to me how butthurt Aussie gets after the fact. Like, it's Survivor, man. What are you doing?
Arrogant.
And even like it wasn't even like an agreement. It was more just Ozzy being like, hey, if one of you guys get it off, you can have it. No one else said a word. Ozzy just assumed that everyone else would agree with him.
Right.
So like Ozzy is essentially being like, hey, get it down, it's yours, I don't care anymore. He gets it down, someone steals it, and he's like, wow, I can't believe you guys didn't agree with me. Like, come on. You guys didn't say anything, but like I just assumed we were buddies.
Well, and it's kind of like how he always rolls. And it's not like I guess I agree with Coach in the situation. Like, especially if there was not this clear, concise agreement with it, then there's really nothing that they owe Ozzy. Like, and like, I don't know. I just think it was really funny. And like, it just says I'm being one of the only few parts of this that really holds up after the premiere. But but I just think it was really funny. But Coach essentially gets to go back to his camp, get his supplies, and then they're like, oh, hey, you know, Ozzy and Q, guess what? You're on Exile Island right now. You have to stay here until, I think this is the first immunity challenge, or was it just overnight? I forget.
Overnight.
It was just overnight. It was overnight. And then in the following morning, they had another chance to try and win their supplies.
No.
And
Oh, kind of, yeah.
They had Ozzy and Q had a final chance to win the supplies, but whoever took the supplies has to give up. The other player has to give up their vote, or give up their vote to the other player. Which, granted, I thought was pretty interesting. That I think is a pretty interesting twist. It's like, one vote, take one vote, give it to the other player, and now they have an extra vote. I think it's interesting. I think it's weird to put an extra vote here.
At the start of the game, I definitely agree. Like, after like a couple rounds, I could have seen it, but like this early on in the game felt very weird. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, because it's like, I thought it was interesting though. Well,
yeah.
Before we move off of Exile Island with those three, anything that's Steib, Joey, anything you two want to say before we move on and quickly talk about the tribes before the challenge?
Yeah, well, I think it was a very interesting dynamic that we were able to see Coach versus Ozzy for another time, and it was very fitting that it was on episode 1 of the 50th season. And yeah, they are fantastic rivals, and like y'all were saying, the more time goes on, the more it stays the same, really. And yeah, Coach is up to his usual shenanigans. Ozzy is up to his usual shenanigans, except now he's got Shambo's hairstyle, which is really wild. But nonetheless,
no, not work. I just want to say that now it does not work. I'm sorry.
Nonetheless, Coach was able to walk away with the pots and the machete, and that's cool for his tribe. And then
he walks away
Ozzy was able to walk away with the extra vote, which is something. It's I think that's fair to say. There were better possible advantages he could get. I honestly think maybe something that could have went better would have been like a clue to an idol hidden back at your camp, and then you got to go find it somewhere, and it's like really obscure. I don't know, like with the ball and chain, like they did last season. That was the fun.
Actually, I didn't mind that one. The ball and chain one, I didn't mind too much. I thought it was a creative way, and I do like they're trying to find more creative ways for idols as well. But I agree. I think an idol could have been more powerful. So, I think we'll kind of like briefly. I'm trying to think if we should talk about the immunity challenge first, or if we should talk about like the tribes and just like get all the tribe stuff at once, or
I'd say
we can briefly
touch on like pre-tribal or pre-immunity challenge tribal dynamics, because there are some things I want to mention.
Yeah, because like right when Q, Ozzy, Coach are sent to exile to get supplies and all that, we immediately go to Vatu. They're hyped, but you kind of just get like this a whole dynamic with like. I think Colby was initially annoyed with Rizzo, and you get like Colby and Stephanie immediately like jumping into trying to make alliances, play the game, almost pick up where they left off on Heroes versus Villains,
which I think is pretty funny considering the fact that on Heroes vs. Villains, Colby voted out Stephanie like very early on, if I remember correctly.
No, he didn't.
No,
I actually watched it recently.
No, like Colby was like one of the only people defending Stephanie.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
So what you said was the complete opposite of what actually happened.
I stand corrected, but I think it's interesting. Regardless, it's like moment get on. All right, we're together, and it's funny because as soon as we got on the beach, you can already kind of see a dynamic starting to form with every single tribe. Right. Like who's gonna work together? Because I mean, look, there's Kyle and there's Genevieve who are also like clearly wanting to work together, clearly like appearing together, and then we see this like foursome start to form. Which I think is a very interesting power group, which we'll get to more later. And then, God, Rizzo and Colby being the starting scene there with Colby like, Rizzo, man, this guy, I'm annoyed by him. And it is the funniest thing because it is the most like Gen X versus Gen Z kind of thing.
I feel bad for Rizzo because it's like he's probably so like geeking out that like he's with all of his like these like celebrities, people he's like idolized for years, and the first confessional we get is Colby just bitching about Rizzo, and I'm like, oh, that's got to just be like a stab to the heart. Like, I felt bad for Rizzo.
It's so funny.
Oh yeah, and then 20 minutes later we get the exact flipping U-turn of, you know what, I like Rizzo now.
Right.
Well, it's like he's like very like younger.
Oh yeah. Oh my
right.
Very wholesome moment.
The next pre-challenge, scene we get is with Kalo, the Teal tribe. I think most of it is just kind of revolving somewhat around Mike White. But you get like a funny confessional of Dee talking about the leaves and how cutthroat she is and how they have to wipe their asses with leaves. Which is really good to hear from Dee, because like Dee's one of my personal favorite winners ever in Survivor history, especially in recent history. And then you kind of get just a lot of Jonathan glazing, which, okay, like, good for you, Jonathan. And then they talk about Mike White for a good chunk of the rest of this content for the pre-challenge for Kalo and Teal Tribe. And Mike is basically like, oh, I have abs now. I made the White Lotus now. That's going to put me as such a big threat in the game. And he's basically trying to say he's trying to be the goofball. And I did like the scene where he's like, he literally looks at Dee and he's like, where'd you get those chompers? Like, I did kind of laugh a little bit at that. But, and then it's kind of majority of the only real, like, content from, like, Kalo, I think.
Well, I will say, we got to remember as well when Coach gets back to camp.
Oh,
Because we get a ton of camp life in this episode. That's one of the good things about the 3-hour premiere is we get so much content. We see Coach coming back home with the toe ring. God. Like, Survivor never fails to be weird and wacky. And I it's great. It's great. Love that. Toe ring.
That was... I had to actually look away from the TV because I was like, this isn't
Wait, was that before or after the challenge, the immunity challenge?
Before.
Okay, it was? Okay. Yeah, because I think they go to Sela, because I was just like fast forwarding through the episode on my phone. I think it might be after they go to Sela.
There is a lot of content pre-tribe because it's like they cut to each tribe once, then to exile, and then they cut back to each tribe.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I know it's like, so like, yeah, we see each tribe early on and then later.
Right. Well, I know we get like Sela, Joe and Suri are talking to each other. They're immediately like, Joe's just trying to talk about they're a well-rounded tribe, and I just think it's a little funny that like we get all this content from Joe considering what happens in episode 2. We get a lot of Jenna glazing, and it kind of is a lot of the same thing where people just describing what's happening in their tribe and just kind of describing like, oh, I think we're gonna win because our tribe's so well rounded. It's like, is this Survivor?
I will say as well,
applications again, like
yeah.
Immediately though, we see at the start Jenna within maybe 5 seconds of getting to camp. I want to get Suri out.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Steib, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, like I gotta agree. Like it was very early on into the show when Jenna is making moves and trying to pick alliances already. And with everybody that I was there with at the watch party, yeah, we were all saying, no, you're playing the game a little too quick, a little too mischievous, a little too early. And who knows if that would end up potentially costing her by the end of the episode. And well, we'll get to that when we get to that. So.
You can't blame Jenna for at least wanting to consider the option of taking out Suri, because of the fact that like Suri is one of the best to never win for a reason, and it's always because she always sets herself up at the beginning very well. So of course, if you have the opportunity, try to take the shot. I do think it was very early, and we'll get to that whole thing later on, because there was even some stuff that was said off camera, or it said like in like post game. Yeah, thank you. Post game interviews. About some stuff that happened, but we'll definitely get to that later on.
It's a respectable move. The finesse just wasn't there, and we'll get to that. But yeah, it was very interesting to see all these dynamics on Sela. Personally, my favorite has got to be the nerd bromance between Rick Devens and Christian Hibiki. These were two of my favorite players on those back-to-back seasons of 37 and 38, and I've absolutely adored that they were cast in the first place, and I've absolutely adored them thus far, and I'm so glad they were able to gel well together. And it appears that they also appear to have gotten a third person in with them, as it appears that Emily Flippin from the newer era, who I'm not too familiar with, she's more newer to me, she's going to apparently be working with them too. So I like that trio on the Sela tribe.
I mean, honestly, if you showed me the cast and you showed me that tribe, instantly would know those three would work together. They're all very similar. They're all huge fucking nerds.
I mean,
but like we love them for that.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, you look at everyone else from their tribe, and then you look at those three. It's like, well, yeah, they're gonna obviously work together. Like, there's really no one else you could work with who is like kind of the same vibe as you.
Right.
And then we see Christian light the fire with his glasses, which was
that was sick.
I do know on Sela as well. I'm kind of like bouncing through the episode, trying to make sure I get the content before the first challenge. But I do know, like, at one point, I think this was before the challenge, where Savannah goes up and she basically tells her tribe, like, guess how I did last season? I won. And then, like, they're kind of just like, oh, okay. And I feel like I kind of expected, like, a bigger reaction to that. I don't know, maybe I missed something, but I feel like it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought there was, like, every confessional the rest of the episode was going to be, like, we need to get her out. We need to get Savannah out. Like, it just didn't feel like, at least not for this episode, but.
So, this is something, at least pre-game, that I've heard about as well. And there was some pre-game interviews as well, is that going into the season, everyone already knew. Everyone already knew how Savannah did. Everyone already knew how Savannah did. Everyone already knew how Rizzo did. I don't know how it got leaked or what got leaked, but it did. And so, yes, she's got to address it on camera, but it wasn't a big deal to everyone else because they knew. They knew. Yeah. They already knew. It's like, great, fork found in kitchen. Good job.
I thought that was just the funniest way, though, is how she tells him. She's like, I won. And then you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. It was that exact reaction. I just remember, like, almost laughing a little bit because I'm like, of course. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to, like, go through the episode, make sure I'm not missing anything on my phone while we talk, and I just got to the toe ring scene.
Oh, we're definitely missing some stuff, but get in the comments. No. But I mean, we've covered most of everything. The only thing I think we were missing somewhat is a bit back on Vatu, where after we see Q come back, Q is kind of slotting into that, like Kyle Genevieve, Colby, Stephanie side. But we're also seeing a budding rivalry between Genevieve and Aubrey, which from the first scene together that like they're not going to work together. Like they are both extremely suspicious of each other, which I think especially is
someone has to have a rivalry with Aubrey, and if it's not going to be Q, I guess it has to be Genevieve.
Which especially is such like a weird move to be that standoffish at the beginning. Which granted, I don't know if that's more just like a result of like how they're acting thing, or just kind of like a pre-built like we know we're not going to work together kind of deal.
Right. The only other thing I think I should mention before is that on Sela, before the challenge, we kind of get some content of Chrissy channeling her inner Jenna Lewis and saying that she basically might want to target someone like a D because she's won the Gamma Riding. She's talking to, I think it was Coach about it. But I just think it was kind of funny. She's like, I literally said like she's channeling her inner Jenna Lewis. Like,
it's not a good idea considering what happened.
No.
I think that's. Let me just keep fast forwarding and make sure I don't forget anything. I think we got like mostly everything that happened like before the challenge, and my phone is okay. My phone's like
Q skirt again. We got the Q skirt return.
The Q skirt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just like the big overall arcing parts of the episode, right? Or before the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a lot of fun camp moments.
It was. Anything else y'all want to talk about with it before we go to the challenge?
No, we're already nearly 40 minutes in, and we're about halfway through the first episode. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, I feel like the second episode's gonna be quicker though.
Oh, it definitely will.
It totally will. Half as long.
So we do get to the first challenge. It's kind of like the standard obstacle course. You have to go through mud, which I kind of hate that they always do it through mud because you can like I just can't imagine how bad it is for the microphones and like all the tech they have to have there, and it's just. I mean, and they always make them go in their clothes too in the mud. I would just tell production, kiss my ass. I'm not getting my clothes soaked in mud. I'm going without. Like a swimsuit, sure, but like I would tell them like kiss my ass. I'll be like, you were absolutely like I would tell them like you're not gonna make me go in like without like all my clothes. Ugh. Anyways, but they kind of like obstacle course, and during this challenge, they have a one moment where they have to like try to push each other on an elevated ramp. Kyle tries to jump on it for Vatu as he's the last one for his tribe. He ends up fucking up his what's revealed later to be his Achilles tendon, and he's very much like limping around. He can't walk as well, and we'll get to that later because it's actually at the end of the episode where it's really addressed. But you can kind of see he's kind of
the moment it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who's watched a lot of sports, the moment it happens and the moment he goes up the wall, you can just tell instantly, yep, he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And
It was kind of...
It's a very serious injury.
It was. The challenge ends with a puzzle. It's essentially it's A, B, C, and then do a puzzle. And then Vatu ends up winning it. Kalo obviously wins it. And surprisingly, Sela loses, which again, I was surprised because I didn't think Sela was going to lose. I was generally convinced they were going to be the well-rounded tribe.
And then we get to the reason Sela lost the challenge, which is why the hell would they put Suri on that part of the challenge?
I don't.
For which part of the challenge you were talking about?
The big lasso monkey ball thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that,
throwing the hook.
yes.
I mean, that is the entire reason they lost.
I think the big part about it, from what I heard, was the fact that, because obviously I think a lot of people know, Suri recently did Australian Survivors, one of their recent seasons being Australia versus the world. And I think she did decently well on that when they did a aspect of a challenge similar to that. She did okay. But I think definitely some people were very much like looking at her as like, why did you put Suri on this when she's clearly better used on the puzzle? Like, I don't know. I mean, I love Suri, but like she was kind of the reason they lost. But yeah, Sela is going to tribal council. I mean, I thought the challenge was okay, though. I mean, it was at least like I don't know as much to say about the challenge. It's kind of just a stereotypical like challenge that's going on. I mean,
it's look, the way I see it is a lot of new era challenges, and this is just something I'm annoyed with as well. A lot of new era challenges are not memorable because they're always like the same thing. It's like relay of some kind, puzzle, like. Right. And so it's not really notable.
Right. It's like
it's notable what happened after the fact and what happened because of the challenge, but the challenge itself, it's just a lot of challenge slop.
Well, I feel like the only time every challenge is memorable in a new era, it's because something's happening around it. Example, like in 43, a lot of people may forget Last Gasp came back in 43, but they would have forgotten it entirely had it not been for Cody having the choose your champion advantage, which I actually didn't mind that advantage. I kind of wish I'd bring it back here and there because it actually is a reasonable advantage. But if it wasn't for that and Cody essentially getting immunity off of that, like I don't think many people probably would remember as well. Sorry, Joey, you were about to say. I
would also say I feel like that. Not just me. I wasn't, when you first said that, I was like, oh, you're going a different way than what you actually went. I thought you were going to talk about the way that two people flipping beat the ocean. And essentially just beat the challenge by outlasting the tide.
Oh, yeah, that too, actually. Yeah, I did forget that, actually. But essentially, yeah, like, it kind of like, my point exactly. I kind of feel like unless there's a big thing that happens around the challenge revolving around the game, they usually don't want to, like, talk about the challenge. Again, another example from 43. Had Gabler not won, I don't think they would have had that whole montage of him being like, this is for Alaska, this is for my father, this is for the United States. I don't remember. He said so many names. Gabler. I love Gabler. I actually would not have minded if Gabler was on 50. I think that would have been a funny pick, actually.
There's no way he was getting on 50.
Sounds pretty performative.
There's no effing way he gets on 50.
Absolutely.
Coach and Gabler together, though, how funny would that have been, though? Come on. Like, how funny would those two together have been? And at least it would have made sense, because, like, Gabler's a winner. So, like, at least it would have kind of made sense. Like, a Michelle Fitzgerald pick of, like, oh, wow, they won, and fans were pissed. Let's bring them back. Like, I don't know.
And then he wins again. The fans get even more angry.
Oh, my gosh, that'd be hilarious. But, yeah, I mean, is there anything with the challenge, this specific challenge, you want to talk about before we move on to the last part, 3 parts of the premiere?
I will say, like, in the challenge... The one where like these, like when going back to Kyle's injury for a second, like when the ramp that he ran up, that's not actually the attempt that tore his ACL.
It was like
it was the very next one afterwards where like you can see him like limping. That's when he tore it.
Yeah, I was about to talk about it too, actually, because I completely forgot to mention this.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
It was like everyone, I think, saw clips on Twitter about how when they recorded the challenge and people like sitting there, it was actually the second time. The first time it was fine, but it was the second one that he fucked it up on. And it was also a scene that wasn't shown for some reason, which they had the time in a premiere. I don't get what we couldn't have seen this, of Angelina trying to negotiate a different reward for her tribe. I forgot what it was. I forgot if it was like rice or like fruit or something, because like there was also for reward, but I don't remember what the reward was. But Angelina was trying to like negotiate for something, and Jeff was all like looking underneath his like podium. I was like, let me see if I could get something there. No, I got nothing for you. Take what you got and head back to camp. And they were just kind of like, okay, whatever. And like Batu just leaves. I thought it was funny. Like I mean, I'm sad we didn't get to see this because that was such a funny moment for Angelina, considering her negotiation story arc from David versus
That sounds like a slam dunk to add to the 50 premiere. What the hell?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
no, there's probably gonna be a funny one later on, so there's just saving up for that.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Any last things we want to talk about with the challenge though before we move on, or
it was
Nope.
Pretty basic challenge.
Okay, then we'll move on. We go to Sela, and they're kind of just strategizing pretty quickly. And I mean, there's actually a lot of surprises with this. I mean, I think a lot of people are definitely concerned about like a lot of things. I think Suri and Ozzy definitely tried to pair up at one point. I believe it's this episode, correct? Where Suri and Ozzy pair up. And which surprises a lot of people because they thought they were just going to gun for each other since the last 2 times they had played with each other, being in Micronesia and Game Changers. They both gun for each other in some way, shape, or form. And then you also get a lot of talks again about. Right, I definitely agree with that. Survivor Twist. The challenges should have been huge. But yeah, it's like, I mean, there's definitely a lot of talk about challenges and challenge strength on the tribe. As I mean, a lot of people, I think some people try to throw out, was it like Ozzy's name at first, and then like some people I think were definitely came down to like Suri versus Jenna at one point. I think is what it was. Correct.
I mean, look, when they get back to camp, it's pretty clear it's going to be Suri's going to be a target. Jenna then becomes a target because she was targeting Suri so early on.
Yeah.
And then it points to Ozzy because he's Ozzy. And it kind of just ends up being 3 big targets and a pack of 5, basically at will, being able to choose who they want to go home.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's really much to talk about because I kind of think a lot of it was genuinely like so fast and like so little post-challenge content we got of them. I feel like it was genuinely just like Suri versus Jenna pretty quickly, right?
I mean, yeah, like the thing is, a lot with first boots, especially in any kind of survival game, it kind of is more of a matter of, okay, who's going to throw out a name first and what's going to happen from that. We've already had a name thrown out like way earlier on, and we already have like kind of targets in mind. So there really isn't much to do except figure out who we're going to go for, you know?
Right, and it's always the hardest thing with the first round too, because it's like, I mean, I think all of us have played a lot of Survivor games, whether it be like online games or live reality games. Shameless plug, Survivor Wisconsin, go apply for that, super fun game. Midwestern Survivors, Zoom Traders, Challenge Wisconsin, shameless plugs here.
Survivor NTSU.
Yes, that too. But I mean, coming out because I am one of the people who it's like I've played so many times, and I usually am out pretty early on, and those early votes are always the hardest because you don't have a lot to go off of, except like some people, if they go too hard too fast, that definitely reflects poorly on them. If they are really bad at a challenge, that reflects poorly. If you're not talking to people, that reflects poorly. But it's like it's really hard because like you can't do a lot the first round. Before going to a first tribal council this season, where at least if you survive the first tribal, you kind of get more dynamics. It's kind of just hard at this first tribal because it's like, what really happens to get you voted off? You either go too hard, too fast, or you do jack all for the tribe. So, like, I don't know. What else do you guys have to say about the pre-tribal segment for Sela before we go to tribal?
I mean, I would say, I feel like the reason why they kind of kept it short was, like, what are you going to talk about? It's just going to be everybody being like, oh, we got to vote Jenna. Oh, maybe we should do Suri. Oh, no, it should be doing back and forth now. It'll just get boring. Whereas we could, instead of having that time, can you spend it more at like tribal or like actually seeing them interact besides just saying the same two names over and over again. So like, if it's just going to be a bunch of just repeat nothing burgers, like you're gonna cut it because you want to show other things, not that.
Exactly. Like I feel like there's just a lot that they. No, I mean I definitely kind of agree with that. I feel like there just wasn't a lot shown. I was just more so surprised because you would have thought like the first tribal in 50, they would have shown so much chaos going on. So I was more so just surprised by that.
Steib? There wasn't much chaos.
Right, there wasn't a lot of chaos, you know. It was very calm amongst chaos.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, but like y'all said, there are multiple reasons why people can get thrown out early in this stage of the game. And yeah, it's looking pretty good for my favorite three, for Christian and for Devins and for Emily. It feels like they have a good chance to control this vote and figure out which big target they might want to send home. And you know, Jenna and Suri are certainly the two most obvious options, but Ozzy is certainly a valid third option, considering he just came back empty-handed from the journey, and who knows if he could have come back with something like that we could try to flush right now, you know? So it is what it is. But yeah, ultimately, the fact that this tribe, being as strong as it is in all these different aspects of the game, the fact that they were able to come up short in the first immunity, it's a pretty open game, and ultimately that's probably the best thing for the fans.
Right. There's a lot of interesting stuff I think we get to the rest of the episode too. Any last things for Go to Tribal?
Nope.
All right, so we go to Tribal. I don't think there's really a lot to talk about because it's kind of the same thing as before. It's kind of very obvious. It's one of Jenna or Suri with how the edit's kind of clearly leading it up to be. It is a unanimous vote, and Jenna ends up being the first person voted out of the game, where Suri even has like a cunning confessional saying that like she wasn't even gunning for her until she went for her. And I forgot how she phrased it. I had to like look into it, but like it was such an iconic confessional. Like
first in, first out.
Yeah.
Like, and I felt really bad for Jenna. This is like Jenna was so excited for being there. She had waited like over 20 years for a chance back in a game, and then to be the first out of the game, it's just gotta be so humiliating. Like I heard Jenna Lewis was supposed to be on 40 before it became Winners at War. Then again, I also heard the same thing for So Kim, who was the first boot of Worlds Apart. Carolyn from Worlds Apart. Who else? There were a lot of people who were supposed to be on 40 before it became Winners at War. But like, I mean, there was just so much potential Jenna had going into the season that it was kind of sad to see her go out first. So I mean,
look, someone's got to be first.
I certainly have that. Yeah, no, it certainly sucks. Nobody wants to be it. But yeah, I have that sentiment as well, being the old era Glazer. Yeah, we certainly would have preferred to see one of these newer era names that's been on this show quite recently enough as is, you know. But it is what it is. So yeah, Jenna played hard, and ultimately it bit her in the butt.
I will say, to answer this question too, I definitely got chills with the season 1 flashbacks with like the music they did, and like it's so insane to think that's like 26 years ago. I was like a baby. I wasn't here.
I wasn't here either.
I was like 4.
I was a baby.
I was like 4 weeks old when the season came out and aired. So
I thought you were about to say 4. I'm like, well, I'm young.
No. 4 weeks old. No, like I was like, I'm a 2000 baby. Like, so I'm not that old yet. I'm not a boomer. I'll say that much. No,
I'm November of '99. I'm trying to hit 3 centuries.
December of
You're
02.
First time.
3 March, yay.
Okay, so oh my god. I love it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Jenna's kind of the first voted off, and it's just sad that Jenna's first out of the game because we didn't get as much old school representation as I was hoping to get for season 50. And it's kind of sad that one of the old school reps that I actually turned around, because pre-game, initially when my cast reveal first happened, I was kind of annoyed that Jenna was on because I kind of felt like it just seems like a random old school pick. But then the more I thought about it, the more I kind of like turned my opinion around. I'm kind of like, oh, actually Jenna actually makes a lot of sense as a pick. She's involved in the community. She is one of the old school players who actually has a very dynamic game.
And she almost won All-Star.
Yeah, if she made it to the end, yeah, she was one challenger away from winning.
Exactly. I kind of like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? I'm actually happy Jenna's on. Like, my opinion completely changed only for her to get voted off first. And I'm like, of course it does. Of course, that's my miss there, apparently.
You're missed.
Yeah.
My miss. Oh my gosh, freaking Ben. His vocabulary is contagious. Anyways, oh, much love to Ben.
He's a contagious personality.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, Jenna's the first vote out of the game, and actually, I'm a little surprised again that that Jenna or Savannah survived. But I think Ozzy tries to give her a hug on her way out, and she's like, no. And I just thought that was so funny because like so many people just like I just thought it was so funny because of the fact that like fucking they always try to do shit where they hug everyone, do the golf clap thing, and then like Jenna's just like, no. Like she's just not having it. Like anything we want to say about the first tribal before we move on to the rest of the premiere?
Yeah, it is tough coming from a common sense standpoint, considering the results of that last challenge that we were talking about and how ultimately Suri was coming up short in that challenge. And that's meant with no disrespect to her because she is the legend of the game, of course. But ultimately, from that common sense point, it's like, well, is Sela just going to hang around now and be sacrificial lambs to the slaughter just so that Suri can make it to merge and potentially go even further in this game when she's already arguably one of the biggest social threats? So it was an interesting decision, but Suri has her own mist as well. So.
Suri's mist. There's a couple more things to talk about for the rest of the premiere, but Sam and Joey, anything you want to say about Tribal before we move on?
I mean, Jenna essentially shot herself in the foot right away. I was excited to see like representation from Borneo because I was like, oh, that's cool. First season, like get someone on there, and then they're out immediately, and it's like, cool. Now we got Colby.
I heard a rumor that like Jenna wasn't the first one to bring up Suri's name, and that it was someone else. I forgot who it was. If she said it was Emily or Savannah, but I remember Jenna saying that like she was not the first one initially to bring it up. And then when she said this on Twitter, Rick Devins, I think, said something just like, of course, that's what you're telling yourself to make yourself feel better. And like Jenna was saying she was screwed, or I forgot what it was. Like there was like some mini like fun. I thought it was funny conflict, like all in good fun, but like I don't know, like I just thought it was funny.
But you also don't push someone's name like so hard so quickly too. Like that's not you need to like do stuff and then like form like tight bonds and then you can do that. You can't just be like script.
Sam, what do you think?
I got nothing else to say about this tribal. Just checks out. Let's keep it on the road.
Yeah. We'll go to the last part of the premiere. Essentially, Kyle on Batu's thinking he might be starting to heal from his injury. He's kind of hobbling around, and we'll get to the Kyle stuff towards the end of the premiere part of it. Genevieve and Stephanie find the Billie Eilish boomerang idol.
Yes, that's what we're waiting for.
Whoa! Oh my God, Billie Eilish? That's crazy.
Who the fuck is that?
The hands of the fans.
I will say the funny thing about this is hands of the fans, right? And it's like, who gives a shit about Billie Eilish in this case?
No. See, I like the concept of the boomerang idol. I think it's such a cool concept. Why'd you have to add effing Billie Eilish to it? You
that's my thoughts exactly. I'm like, this is a cool twist. Yeah. It's a cool idol, and they attach Billie Eilish for no reason.
Next, we're gonna get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson extra vote steal vote block advantage.
Come on, guys.
I share a birthday with The Rock. Okay. Anyways,
guys. Billie Eilish isn't a bad guy. Come on now.
Oh God. Look, all I'm saying is Joey is broken.
Yeah, there goes Joey.
All I'm saying is, look,
turn
I'm
on the
ready.
camera.
And now I'm left asking myself, what was I made for? That's another good
Okay, yeah, no. So essentially, the Boomerang Idol, if I heard it correctly, I think he got disconnected. Oh, here he
He will
is.
be back.
He got
I
disconnected.
think I broke everything.
You actually got disconnected.
Fair.
No, anyways, so it was funny. So I think the Boomerang Idol works as, if I remember correctly, it's you give it to someone in the opposite tribe, and I think it's if they get voted out with it, or is it also if they use
So
it?
the way it works is you have to give it to somebody on another tribe, one of the other two, and if they get voted out with the idol, then the idol automatically goes back to you, and the idol's non-transferable, so it is their idol until they get voted out. Granted, if there's a merge or a swap, that idol's still with them, but keep in mind they know they were given an idol somewhere, so
Yeah.
who knows what happens with that.
I do know she's able, like, Genevieve finds it with Stephanie, and then she chooses to give it to Ozzy. I forgot the reason why for it. I think
Ozzy should get voted out. The reason they give it to Ozzy is they're like, what's somebody who's going to get voted out before the merge?
He already got voted out.
And who also doesn't have the social wherewithal to know when to play an idol.
Yes.
Exactly. So, like, I'm just hoping that if Genevieve gets it back, considering where we see Ozzy end up hiding it, I hope they sanitize it before they give it back to Genevieve.
I feel like they'd have to.
They have to, considering the Steib, I swear to God.
Not bad.
Genevieve. But yeah, no, essentially though, it kind of comes down to, like, just that whole thing with, like, Ozzy getting the idol. Then there's a journey that a couple people have to go on, which is Colby, Savannah, and Mike. And I think it's like they have to, let me just look through the episode again to make sure.
Well, first, when they get there, it's the three of them get there and they're like, oh, okay, only two of you are allowed to play.
Yeah.
And they do it by random chance because all of them are like, yeah, well, you came out here, we want to do something. Mike gets there. Mike does not do anything. And he just leaves. He's like, all right, see ya.
And then I do remember the rest of it. I think you remember that first part because that's the part I forgot. Because I do remember the second part is Savannah and Colby competing in this little challenge where essentially they have to it's almost like I forgot what it's called, but it's like that game where you have to, like, stack stuff on each other and just try to not make it, like, fall.
Jenga. It's Jenga.
No, it's not Jenga. I know what you're talking about. It's like Bloxy, I think.
It's kind of like that. Like, they have, like, a giant thing that the stack pieces on, and if they knock it over in any way, they lose their vote. And I forgot if the other person gets, like, they get a advantage, right? Like a block.
Well, that wasn't initially said. It was just like you're fighting to save your vote. And what happens at the end, we see Savannah.
Oh, you do drum roll. Yeah, Savannah wins and Colby loses.
Savannah wins.
I was not prepared for that drum roll.
No. We see Savannah win it. And Colby loses his vote and he goes back to camp. But then she stays. And what does she do?
Yeah, so Savannah stays, and I think this is where she gets the right?
She gets the vote blocker.
Yes.
Vote blocker, yes.
Which we'll get to later. Has no effect on the game.
Yeah, and we'll get to that, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it is a fun little twist because it's like, oh, hey, like, surprise, you won the challenge. You get, like, a secret little thing at the end. So it was cool.
Right, it was definitely very cool. And definitely, I mean, coming out of the premiere, it's definitely looking decently well for Savannah to have an advantage on her side and to at least have seemingly integrated herself well into the tribe to at least be included in on the first vote off of the season. But, yeah, exactly. Yeah, those are always the same type of scenes. Like, whenever you get back, they always think you're lying no matter what you do.
No matter what you say.
Well, it's funny that we bring that up because I think one of the things that we may not have entirely mentioned is once Mike White, Colby, and Savannah got to this journey, they actually started before the challenge and said, hey, let's corroborate our stories and figure out what actually happened on the first journey with Hugh and with Ozzy and with Coach. And there were some interesting, some truths that came out there, and we eventually see them come out in those return from journey scenes where we see Coach just accosted and offended, like like he's like the most important person on the planet, and he's just, I can't believe Ozzy said this about me, and I never agreed to this, yada yada. And we'll certainly get into more of that in the ramifications of that into episode 2.
My honor.
I cannot wait to talk about that episode 2 section.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kind of come back. They like kind of tell their thing. It's kind of the same old. Like they tell what happened in the journey. Someone's like, "Oh, I think they're lying. I don't trust them. I don't think they're telling the truth," which is kind of what they always do. It's kind of the same thing, and that's one of the reasons I don't like when there are too many journeys. Because not only does it eat from a lot of screen time that we could be focusing on giving content to people who actually make it further in the game or seeing like the actual social strategy gameplay at hand, it's kind of the same old. Like there's nothing it can really do to expand on especially the return from journey scenes. Because again, it's always like everyone's going to assume you're lying. But then we kind of get to the last part of the episode where medical comes in. They check up on Kyle. He's pulled from the game. I think they'd say a tore his Achilles tendon, ACL, whatever you want to call it. He tore it, fucked it up. And even though he thought he was getting better, it was at a point where they just couldn't. And even though the fact he fucked up his leg, they still make him hobble down the beach instead of just giving him like a fucking stretcher. Like, and they have the stretchers there. So I didn't know if they were just that cheap to where they didn't want to bring out a stretcher.
Like they ask him, I think it's more like they ask him, "Do you want this?" And he's like, "No." So
I kind of feel like with the condition of his leg, if it was that bad for them to medically evacuate him for, they should have made him get a stretcher. At least that's
he also walking around with it for probably a solid 24 hours after the injury too. So they probably were like, he can walk, and like he was. If you watch like the scene, like people were like assisting him down. Like, it's not like they just made him like walk down. Like I think it was Q and Colby were like shoulder to shoulder, like giving him like crutches and stuff.
Right.
So that's like what maybe it was like we could get the stretcher, but they were like, "No, we can help him out."
I know definitely part of the end of the episode 2 is kind of like the entire tribe they're crying, they're sad, and it kind of goes into episode 2 as well. But like it kind of ends off with I believe I forgot if this was the beginning of episode 2 or the end of episode 1 where Q is flat out like, "Well, I don't have my vote anymore. Kyle's gone. Our majority alliance is fucked right now," and because they had 5 and now they're down to only like 3 votes out of like potential like 6 votes. So it kind of ends with Kyle being medevaced, which very much felt like a very, I don't want to say odd way to end the first episode, but it just kind of felt very like they were leading up to almost like they were leading up to a second boot, but then it just went as a medevac. It just kind of felt very anticlimactic, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, look, I'm guessing the first episode was always planned to have a double boot of some kind. And because of that happening, that's how they ended it.
Anything with episode 1 we want to talk about before we go into episode 2?
Yeah.
You just never want to see someone leave the game in that kind of way. So it sucks, but it happens. It's a freak injury. Personally, I didn't want to see Kyle on our screens again going into the season. But let me clarify. After seeing him on the show, I'm glad we had him back because he brings a lot.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I just did not want to see 3 48ers.
That's true.
Yep.
Nice.
I mean, like,
at least we didn't get David.
I didn't mind David, but David definitely would have been a good villain for me. I have to. Oh, I slipped. I'm like really close to my computer, so like I had to do like this. I did not notice what you guys were doing for like a half.
That was iconic.
Way too long for me to get. That was an iconic moment. You gotta just imagine how awkwardly silent that must have been though when he did do that in the actual like scene. Like how awkward it must have been when he did do it. Like, because it didn't add the music, so it's kind of like how awkwardly.
It's kind of standing there menacingly, you know.
What?
Just kind of standing there menacingly.
Okay, SpongeBob.
So, yeah, it is unfortunate to see Kyle go out this way. It's unfortunate to see practically anybody that's played this game go out like this. And yeah, like we've said, it's a freak thing. And unfortunately, it could have happened to anybody. And unfortunately, it happened to him. And like I said, I personally never saw 48. So I've seen like summary videos of it. And he certainly he earned his win on 48, and yeah, it's one of those decisions where it's like, okay, well, did you need to bring him back this early? So honestly, it's kind of the result that a lot of Survivor fans indirectly wanted. It's certainly not the means that we would have liked it to be. But yeah, Kyle going out early, it's kind of meant for the best for this season, if we're being honest.
I want to say this again. I said it before, and I'll say it again. 48 is one of the worst seasons of all time, and it is definitely the worst newbie season of the new era. It's definitely the worst new era season. I'll say that. Like, people can fight me on it. Like, I've gone at this several times. I think 48 is one of the worst seasons they've ever had. The gameplay was so horrendous. And, like, a horrible edit. If they would have at least had a better edit, it could have actually saved the season. But no. They want to focus on the nice, everyone is their best friend type of bullshit game strategy instead of just saying that, like, Joe and Eva were dominating.
I mean, it's still better than 39, let's be honest.
Yeah, there was no saving
39 was rough.
No, they kept. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we can go. There's probably a different video we can go into with, like, because maybe I'll do an updated season rankings after 50 years. Because I know last year Alex and I did that after 48, and I had so much to say then. But it'll probably be a lot quicker for that one because there's Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I mean, what do you think of Camilla's reaction to Kyle leaving? I actually will say, because I actually was gonna say that when we get to episode 2, because we kind of open in episode 2.
Can I say something about the Kyle thing before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let Joey talk, and then I got one more thing. But yeah, that'll also bleed into the next thing.
So going into the season, I thought Kyle was doomed from the start because we just saw him win.
Exactly.
Like, that's fresh in their mind. Wow. We saw how dominated he played, how dominant he won. Like, it was easily one of the most impressive wins of the new era. And just the fact that he was able to integrate himself to a position where if that tribe went to tribal council like 3 times, he probably doesn't go home. Like, he is so well connected in that tribe. Like, I was so surprised. And then just seeing him, like, this is how he leaves. Like, I was like, okay, tribe swap, that's probably when he leaves. Now flipping Achilles injury. Like, that sucked to see. But based on kind of what I'm seeing, I would be so not surprised if we see Kyle in the future. Like, if they do like another like returning season, I could totally see Kyle coming back. Because he just is such a good player.
I feel like they'd bring back Kyle and Savannah, to be honest, just considering how they were just such early boots that they didn't really get to do anything. It's like, I could definitely see at least one of those two for sure. Probably Kyle.
Yeah. No, Kyle, I feel like it's a guarantee.
Oh my gosh, on his biceps? Steib, you said you had something you wanted to say before we moved on to episode 2.
Yeah, like I'll help transition us to episode 2 because ultimately, it is an unfortunate result for Kyle. And yes, like you said, maybe with circumstances like this, perhaps that's an open door to perhaps coming back in the right circumstances later. But ultimately, we do see quick emotions flaring up on the Pink Vatu tribe heading into episode 2. And we'll see people like Genevieve crying right away. And we'll see people like you already assessing the situation and saying, okay, well, we went for majority being Hugh himself and Colby and Stephanie and Genevieve. And now that they have lost Kyle to this unfortunate freak injury, now they got to potentially try and get majority back, or at least like get even more numbers on their side. So we've already seen the growing, budding relationship with Rizzo and Colby, and it appears that might have helped bridge some form of bridge for Rizzo to be able to join into this majority with the Pink tribe. So it's very interesting how quickly these players are able to just calm down and look at the situation and assess how I'm going to get to the end of this game on the fly in such a very stressful, very important season of the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I definitely think it's a very interesting, especially for Rizzo. I think he even calls it out. They're saying, like, I was worried about my placement in a tribe, and now I think I'm getting in good terms with these people. And I think we saw last season with Rizzo, all he needs to do is get in good with a few people, and then he's basically there long term. Like, and which I would say I do give Rizzo credit for it. He is pretty damn good with just like getting in good with people, you know. That was a great transition, by the way. Actually, that helped a lot to get that good transition side. But yeah, it's really good for Rizzo, you know. I think the only other pre-challenge content to talk about from before the reward challenge is like in terms of camp scenes is Christian is at camp and Sela, and then he shits himself by accident.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like as men we're able to talk about these things pretty openly. I feel like we've all been there where it's like you try to fart and then it's like, oh no, but then it's like it sounds like that's what it was. And yeah, it sounds like when you're on the islands of Survivor in Fiji and you're only eating like stupid fucking coconuts, your digestive tract is gonna go to hell. So I don't know. Maybe there's something different Christian could have done there to prevent that. That could have happened to anyone.
You have to. Just like Joe's reaction too, just being like, "Yep, that happened." It's just like, yeah.
The funniest part is when he's walking by Emily, like he's kind of like hobbling around, trying to. I thought he was getting to the water, to like the woods or wherever it was, and you kind of see Emily just look around. She's like, "What the fuck?" Like she just like clearly is just like, "What is going on here?" Like it was just the funny, and you have the little blur on the back of his pants.
Well, they're not going to show poop on national television.
I know they're not going to. I just thought it was funny. The blur just made me laugh so hard. It was just so funny. I just thought it was so funny. Is there anything else about the pre-challenge content for episode 2 we want to talk about? I was actually right about to say this. Actually, I was right about to say
Just, I hope my son will see this. Poops pants. Man, I'm getting a divorce.
You know, this isn't the only. You know, it's kind of crazy. They had 2 evacuations in the same day.
That's good.
I think we should get to the next challenge.
Yeah.
I was about to ask that. So we get to the reward challenge, and it's not just kind of like a water obstacle course thing where they have to like do X, Y, and Z to get keys to, I think it was keys to unlock a set of rings, and then they have to toss those rings on like poles, and then whichever tribe I think does it like first and second gets X amount of rewards. I don't remember what it was. But before the challenge they reveal Kyle got medevac and Jenna was the first boo of the game, which obviously you get some content from Camilla, which as I was saying before, I do think it's pretty funny that like pre-game she said she didn't even want to play with Kyle, and that if she even knew that he was going to be there, she wouldn't have said yes to playing Survivor 50. So I did think it was a little bit like, why are you crying? I kind of in some ways I understand the personal side of it.
It's different. It's different. Like wanting to work with someone in a game is a very strategic side of things, but seeing someone go out regardless, someone you would consider a friend go out to an injury and not to getting voted out. If he just got voted out, she'd probably be like, "Oh my god, that's crazy," shocked. But seeing someone go out to an injury, it sucks. It sucks. And you care about that person.
Oh yeah, and Camilla, I will say, was definitely the 48 rep. I think we needed back the most. So it's like I definitely get why they got the content of her. So sorry, someone was about to speak.
But dare I say, she didn't get enough content because you know, I actually have the I have the confessional account here pulled up on my phone, and we'll talk about the overall confessional account by the end of us talking about episode 2, and we'll go over there. But I think it is absolutely insane that Camilla did not get a confessional in this episode after finding out that Kyle got evacuated. And I cannot believe that we did not find this out on the show. And ultimately, it is... Hang on, let me finish. Okay. Ultimately, it's just it's a very smart idea for Camilla to want to distance herself from Kyle. So, yeah, of course she's going to be sad in that moment that her friend got injured and is now out of the game. And ultimately, it might be the right move for her in the long run that Kyle is gone. And then that's one less option for people to consider voting her out.
Right. And I 100% think that, and I'll transition to the next part of what happens right before this challenge actually begins. But, like, I mean, like, the confessional account thing, too, also bugs me. I think everyone should at minimum get like one confessional every episode, like at least something, because it's kind of like if you're spending your ass, like wasting your ass off on an island, you might as well at least get something for it. And then the fact that again we are missing scenes with like someone like a Camilla, not getting time to talk about her strategy in the game, and that she thinks is going on. When like Kyle and Camilla have this whole history, we don't even get to hear anything from fucking Camilla. But no, we have to hear like a bunch of random confessionals from like Jonathan, who is kind of irrelevant throughout most of this episode. We have to hear so much content from just so many people who just are not relevant. I don't know. I still think everyone should have gotten at least one, especially Camilla. But the funniest thing from this opening scene here comes with... Oh, God, I hope she doesn't work with Joe. Anyways, so the funniest thing comes to Coach kind of talking about it, and then immediately, because this is, remember, this kind of like right after episode 1 and leaves off at Kahlo, where they're talking about what happens on the journey and how Ozzy was bitching about him. He immediately makes it about himself. Goes on this whole tangent about how he's a man of honor and integrity and how Ozzy was lying. You even kind of see like Ozzy rolling his eyes. Camilla seems kind of annoyed. He's just doing this now in the middle of the challenge. Like, he's trying to make a whole like spectacle to call out Ozzy for being a liar. And you kind of just see like no one's like, I mean, like not that they disagree, or not they're saying like they're agreeing or disagreeing with them, but they just don't care what Coach is saying, which I just think is kind of funny because it just kind of gives flashbacks like Token Cheens, where they're just kind of like, Coach, we don't care. I thought it was a little funny just how awkward that scene was, but what do we all think about this content before the reward challenge itself?
I mean, yeah. This guy said everything.
It's Coach.
Yeah, it's Coach. He's so entertaining to see, but like sometimes he just needs to shut up.
Yep. There was a lot of shit spewing, that's for sure, whether from Coach's mouth or from other places on Christian's body, perhaps. But yes, it was more Survivor antics, and like we've said, the game loves to be weird in all of its funny ways, and we love them. We love the game for it.
I love Coach. I'm happy he's back on. So anyways, so then we move on to the challenge, which is actually won by, I believe it was, double check. I know Vatu ended up winning because partially actually because of Coach. Like I forgot if they won first or second, but I know they like won like first or second because of Coach.
They got second.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, they got second. And then
Sela won the first one.
Thank you. Yeah, Sela won with Devins on the rings, and then Vatu gets nothing, which at that point I was kind of like, yeah. I wonder now that Kyle's gone, now they're going to start going like one by one, losing every single challenge. But
there was certainly one key moment that cost Vatu in that tribe, or in that immunity challenge, when Aubrey was running up the little platform in the water with a club, trying to swing for that little clay plate or whatever, and unfortunately missed. And some of us will admit got a chuckle out of that. But yeah, that might have just made it too far for them to come back from, honestly. But hey, that can happen to anybody.
Right. And I do like this challenge. It was a decent challenge. So.
And at the end of the day, this is only for tarps and for maybe a hammock. So.
Right. Is there anything else we really want to talk about with this challenge before we move on to the rest of the episode?
It happened.
Yeah.
It happened. I love that. It happened. Joey, anything else you want to say?
No, not really. It was just like challenge. They won stuff. They lost stuff. Like there, you can't really. It can't really make like it wasn't really memorable. I feel like they had this challenge like 3 times before.
Right.
They gotta get their trailer shots somehow.
Yeah.
So we then go to Vatu, and they're all talking at their camp. Genevieve's suspicious of Aubrey. Q is annoyed that Angelina's not doing a lot. Colby and Rizzo, I think, are starting to get along more now. But Genevieve, I think, ends up trying to get everyone to distract Aubrey so that they can go through her bag. And Aubrey's kind of like freaking out, like trying to make sure she's not crashing out. She didn't go wrong early on, and even mentions go wrong specifically. But exactly, yeah, like bigger, crazier challenges, 50 rings. But yeah, there's a lot of fun camp content with Vatu because they're just going all into chaos and just searching Aubrey's bag the minute they like get her away.
Because Aubrey has nothing in her bag at this point.
Right.
I love seeing the coordinated effort from this majority Vatu alliance, and I think it's just funny how you have Stephanie like distracting Aubrey with the conversation far away, and then you have multiple lookouts, and then you have Genevieve, who's a lawyer, who's going to be very systematic in her search and putting everything back. Like Aubrey will have no idea. So I bet Aubrey, like she might have been kind of violated, but also she must have found the humor in that, because honestly, we've seen bag searches on the game. And it's hard to tell if that's in the gray area of like, should I do it? Should I not? Is it the right thing to do? But it made for fantastic content. So
it was great content. We get to Kahlo. Sorry?
It's Survivor. I mean, come on.
Right. I was about to say it's Survivor.
I didn't even like. I was gonna say they even like mentioned it in the episode too. They're like, "Yeah, it's Survivor. You're gonna get your bag searched. Like it just happens."
Right.
Yeah. Why do you think I held my bag on me all the time during Call vs. Chaos?
I think
no way in hell.
When I played Survivor Wisconsin, I don't think I think my bag was always never by me. Like I rarely went by my bag, and like I think I think a lot of people know I recently did Heroes vs. Villains 2, which is actually airing episode 2 tomorrow, by the way, I believe. I had this it was an overnight season, so I had a giant suitcase that just brought with all my stuff I need for the weekend, and I think I only went by there like once or twice. I'm surprised no one went through my stuff. I'm genuinely surprised because then when we merged, I just left my when we merged post game. I'm trying to remember what happened actually, because I think everyone.
We don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think
we don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Something happened. No spoilers.
You don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Moving on. We get to Kahlo. They pull him up on the boat. Yeah. So, Coach and Jonathan go out fishing, and it's a little funny because Coach flat out he gets cramps and it's like he almost drowns in the game, but yeah, he thinks Jonathan, but he doesn't thank the production members who pull him up. Which I just think was very funny. He's like, "Oh, Jonathan was so good for pulling me up, for like helping me out." And you got to see the other production members off the side being like, "What about us?"
You're all against Jonathan, aren't you?
Like, I feel like
I just thought it was a funny Coach thing. Sorry, Joey, go on.
No, you're good. I think it's less of like you can't be like, "Oh, hey, like, thank you production." Like I think they mentioned it in the episode. Where like, yeah, he got cramped, but thank goodness we have production and like diving teams who are like there to save us. Coach didn't say that. I think Jonathan said that. But like, I feel like they're trying to like build up something between Coach and Jonathan that's gonna happen, and like that's why they're being all like, "Oh, Jonathan, if I wasn't for there, I probably would have died." Like, oh, and I think that's just Coach being Coach, and just like it's more of like I feel like it could build them working together pretty closely moving forward in the game. And it's just like, we need to just see that.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Joey. Yeah, I think Coach and Jonathan are looking to be buddy, and that's certainly what I was thinking before this season even began. I figured those two would just resonate with each other pretty well. And yeah, that I don't know. It's old man Coach. He's clearly, he's been fine in the challenges, and he's helped win the challenges, some of them. But like, yeah, he's certainly not the young man he used to be. It's interesting to see him get that help from Jonathan.
Right. I just thought it was a very interesting situation overall, where Coach is kind of thinking he's thinking like production, or he's not thinking production when it was they kind of pulled him out, which granted, like, yes, like Jonathan did call them out, like props him for that. But I just thought it was a funny scene. Because just Coach is very much like, "Oh, these cramps are so bad," and then Chrissy is trying to help him. You say she's going like mom mode or something like that. I forgot how she phrased it, but I don't know. I just thought it was very interesting because then like everyone starts complaining about Chrissy at one point. I'm like, why? Like,
she's doing too much.
Yeah,
I love.
And there ain't much else to talk about because they keep winning.
Yeah.
We get to Sela, and they're all talking about it. Like, I think Ozzy, Savannah, and Devins are talking, and then I think this is where it starts because, like, Devins and Savannah are whispering, and then Joe starts getting paranoid and starts like bugging Devins about it. And then Devin starts complaining about Joe just not getting his way and just all this drama with those two. And then they all start complaining about Joe being paranoid and how they have to basically babysit him. They call it like a Joe-tation at one point. We'll get more to this later on because there's some funny parts, but it's basically like they're all complaining about it. And then Christian finds a boomerang idol for his tribe, and then he gives it to Aubrey, who basically starts immediately crying over it. And she's like, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. And then Christian's like, Godspeed, Aubrey Bracco, which I like that part. But
I will say something about this as well. I think this is the absolute right pick for who to get for who Christian to give the idol to. Especially with, Nerd Alliance being a thing that exists. Especially, it's a double-edged sword where if Aubrey gets thrown out, it's come back to him. But if Aubrey stays in the game, Aubrey's going to work with Christian. I don't see any doubt there.
Right. Like, honestly, Aubrey, I think, is in a decent spot with the idol in her pocket now at this point. Like, regardless of what happens, like, she's safe. Like,
oh, yeah.
Especially with what we found out for next week's episode. I
love seeing Christian give the salute and say, Godspeed, Aubrey.
Oh.
That was cool.
I just love seeing Christian back on my screen. Like, he is I love Christian.
Agreed.
Yeah, for Aubrey and Christian, I think would be definitely really great if they do get to a swapper merch together. But I'm definitely I think it's kind of funny, again, because we stay on Batu. Q's bitching about how Angelina doesn't do anything.
You just do that about like 3 different people.
Angelina and Rizzo.
Angelina, Rizzo, and Aubrey are just not doing anything.
Kind of there.
Which is kind of funny because that's like how he was like his first time playing. He was just like, wow, this one guy just keeps quitting. Like, I don't want to play with quitters. And now he's just like, man, no one wants to do anything.
I think it's very funny that like Q just on a dime can flip like that. Which, I mean, I'm happy he's on 50, so.
Yeah.
There's just so much chaos that goes around this episode. And just Q's just complaining about everyone. Then it's the immunity challenge. Yeah. That was fast, actually. I thought there was more to talk about pre-immunity challenge. But yeah, that's kind of what happens up to the immunity challenge. Anything we want to talk about with this before immunity challenge scenes? Or okay.
Nothing really I can think of.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking this challenge is going to give us at least something to talk about. It's not like a new challenge, but at least it's something that I think was a little like more memorable. Where they have to send a few people onto the jungle to collect like these giant snakes, getting through a bit of an obstacle course with like one side with strings, another side with another side.
There was like a rope. There was like a rope net on the ground.
Yeah, and they have to like try to like go. Yeah, like with sand on it, they have to like get under that, and they have to put
another race.
Yeah, there were like 3 of them, and once they did that, they could get like a ball or a bag of balls, something like that. And they have to like do this like snake obstacle course thing where they have to like not an obstacle, but like a maze, and they have to get a ball into a little hole, and then first one was it
3 people control it.
Oh, 3 people.
No, I'm saying 3 people control the one ball. So yeah, I got coordinated.
And this is something I have to mention as well. We had 4 challenges so far this season, and every single one is the same thing. They're all just do a race, complete objectives, do a puzzle. And it's like, God, can they pick other challenges? Like, they've done so many creative challenges in the past.
Like 49 last season brought back the challenge that I don't think we had seen since like Samoa, where they had like stack blocks on top of each other. It's like that's a very simple, easy challenge. Like you have to do X, Y, and Z to get some blocks, but then you have to like stack them on top of each other in a tower that's gonna stay. Like that's a decent challenge right there. Like you had other challenges that, again, in the Exile Island challenge, they had the little key thing, which I like because that's something we hadn't seen in a while. Like, but I definitely agree. Like they need to, if they're gonna do challenges, they should either do new ones or challenges that have not been done in such a long time. So
also answer a question for chat. I haven't watched Australian Survivor yet. I've heard all about it. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Love new challenges. God.
I love Australian Survivor. But for this Survivor 50 challenge, the two people who or the two tribes who end up winning it at the end are Vatu and Kalo, sending Sela right back to tribal council. Which really surprised that they're kind of the flop tribe early on, because I never would have pictured them being the one to have to go to the first two tribal councils of the season. But again, you kind of get like Ozzy, Suri, and Christian kind of trying to talk through the challenge, but then the Christian's talking about the parallax, and you just see Ozzy's confusion, I feel like, and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought that was funny.
I will say as well, something you might have noticed is Rick Devens still's never won a tribe immunity challenge. Still happens.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
Definitely, they noticed that.
Oh, when he finally wins one, that's probably gonna be like his confessional, just like, I finally won a tribe challenge.
Which especially leads more into later after the challenge with Sela, where he's talking with Joe. There's a confrontation or whatever. And Joe very much is pitching like the tribe strength thing. And Rick's saying, they're like, I don't give a shit about tribe strength. Keep in mind, he's always gone to tribal.
Right. See, he knows like tribe strength does not matter, which I was actually right about to get into that whole segment with Sela post challenge. But yeah, because that's one of the biggest things is that Ozzy has his idol, and then Joe and Devin start arguing pretty quickly because they're kind of arguing over what to do. And again, like Joe, it's just being very much like a child. Like, I'm just gonna say it this way. He was kind of acting like a child. And he was just getting really pissed off. I got to the point where Christian is literally rocking him on the hammock like a baby. Like, I'm not even joking. It's like, it's one of the reasons I was kind of
peering through the hammock. He's like peering through the hammock and like that had me howling at top. That was incredible.
He was like, and I'll say it this way, as a person, I like Joe. As a player, I don't think Joe should have been brought back at all. Like, I was so annoyed when I saw Joe came back on, because I'm like, come on, like, Joe is not that good of a player. And now that he's kind of noticing that people aren't going to just do what he says like they did in 48, you can kind of see he's starting to get annoyed. Like, yeah, they did water down the fight from what I heard from Savannah, that apparently got to the point where they had not seen a fight like that in years. And for some reason, they watered it down. And a lot of people feel like they did it because they wanted to make it like keep Joe's Golden Boy edit, because he's probably one of the least problematic Golden Boys they've ever had on the show. But like,
I mean, it just narratively doesn't fit. Narratively, it doesn't make sense. If Joe or Devins got voted out this episode, I think they would have included it because it makes sense to include. But in an episode where, truth be told, after that, nothing comes of it.
Well, nothing we know yet. For all we know, it could be very much it could come into play in the next couple episodes, or it could even come to play for what happens in the future. So, I mean, you never know.
Who knows?
But yeah, I think
we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. Three is trying to save Ozzy. They're trying to work together. And at one point, I think Suri's trying to do a lot of work. And Savannah flat out sees right through Suri's shit right off the bat. Savannah sees right through it. And she knows exactly what's happening, what's going on. And before Tribal, I think the three names that essentially come up the most are Savannah, Ozzy, and Joe. Where Emily's even debating with like Christian and Devins, like, should we vote for Ozzy and flip it on to Ozzy and keep Savannah and Joe both in the game? And it does truly look like there's a high chance of Joe going before Tribal Council, like, because people are getting very annoyed at having to babysit him and having to watch over him. And there's just, I don't know. What else do you guys think about the pre-tribal segment before we move on to Tribal Council itself?
I feel like I want to say more about it once we talk about Tribal, because there's just an issue I've had after I even watched it. I was like, I can explain more once we like talk about like Tribal and who went home.
Yeah. Steib, Sam, anything you want to say about pre-tribal before we go to tribal, or?
Let's get to tribal.
Yeah.
All right, so we do get to tribal council. Oh,
sorry. Yeah, I had to turn on my camera for a second. I think it's fun for us to at least briefly mention that right before tribal, there was yet another conversation between our two nerd bromancers, Rick Devins and Christian Hibicki, where Christian reveals to Devins, "Hey, I found the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol."
Yeah!
And Rick Devins is like, "Oh my God, one of my favorites," which is probably a total lie, but nonetheless, it's a very interesting result of this friendship that they have, that Christian's able to share this information with Rick Devins, and hopefully they're able to turn it into something more, because it appears that they're trying to make some sort of devious fake advantage and potentially plant it at tribal council. What do we think about that, gentlemen?
I forgot that happened.
It is such an interesting play.
It is a very interesting play.
It's interesting, and I'm curious to see if anything ever comes of it. It's good content.
I think that's kind of like Rick Devins going into the season. He was like, you know what? I want to have some fun. I'm going to make this an entertaining season for the fans. Like, that was kind of just like, seems like his main goal is just have a fun, entertaining season.
Right, like 100%. There's a lot of fun stuff with it that I think people are very excited about seeing. I mean, especially because, again, we do get the tribal council, and they do hide the idol at the end of it, but the entire tribal almost feels like Savannah's swan song. Swan song. I don't think I said that right. Swan song. First.
No, you got it. Swan song.
Thank you. Yeah, like it just kind of feels like it's once you get the tribal, I think even Savannah knows she's going home. Like I think even she knows she's going home, and even then, I think it's another unanimous vote where it's like 7-1 or 6-1, and Savannah's just voted out unanimously, which is kind of
the moment we get the tribal, it feels obvious.
Yeah,
it's kind of disappointing for Savannah coming from one of the most dominant winners to basically being out second to last, or third to last. It kind of just feels disappointing. It kind of feels like, why bring her back? Like, I mean, I heard the reason that Savannah was even on was because they replaced Marianne with her. But even Marianne, I think, would have lasted a lot longer in this cast. Like, I mean, she would not have been an early boo, but it's kind of, I like Savannah as a character. Like, I like Savannah as a player, a character, all that. And I kind of hate that Savannah got voted off very early on. So, yeah, I don't know. I was kind of disappointed to see Savannah go home. But then at the end of tribal, the Christian pretends to fall, pretends to eat shit, literally. Pun not intended. And he basically he flat out with Rick Devins, like he hides this like little like fake idol thing in the mill by the fire. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can convince someone else to take it, or if they're gonna try to pick it up if they think they're in trouble and just have this whole thing with it. Who really knows? So I'm very interested with it. See what happens with it. But what do you think about tribal?
Just to parrot practically a lot of what you were saying. Yeah, we love Christian Hibicki. He's the greatest actor. He's probably going to win an Oscar next year for his performance on this season, because that fall was hilarious. And I just got to say, thankfully, Christian only shit himself and fell down on this episode. If he would have shit himself and been voted out of the game, that would have been like no coming back from that levels of humiliation. So I'm so glad he's the amazing person that he is and the amazing character that he is, and that he has so much showcase on this season thus far, and may it continue.
Yeah. Joey, Sam, what do you two want to say about tribal council in the end of this episode?
Just to kind of start, I mean, look, it seemed obvious Savannah was going. Interesting how they edited it, but even when we got to tribal and they started panning to her a bunch, I'm like, all right, she's gone. Sucks to see her go out. Nothing she could have done. I think coming back-to-back seasons, especially as a winner, is a death sentence. Either way, I think she was just happy to be a part of it at that point. Yeah. And especially with the such small turnaround as well, like going from playing 1 to like 2 weeks later, you're back. And I think it's time. She realized that she was going to get voted out. There was nothing she could do. Interesting that she had a vote blocker that has no presence in the game now, though. Like,
unless they rehide it.
that never gets addressed. They could rehide it. Someone could get it. I don't know. But her thing and that whole journey where she gets it, nothing comes from it. And, you know, it sucks to get it wasted. Also, I love the plan of Christian and Devin's after the challenge, after the tribal. And I think it's really funny when they're leaving and Christian's like, yeah, I meant to do that. Like, as a joke. In reality, he did mean to do that.
Yeah.
Like, it was on purpose.
I thought it was
I love Christian Hibiki.
Love it.
And yeah, just to go back to Savannah for a second. A lot of us were disappointed that she was cast for this season because of those reasons, because she is coming off of her last season, the very last season that nobody has seen. She's won the game. So, of course, winners are going to have targets on their back in returning seasons like this. And yeah, this was probably a pretty likely result that Savannah would end up going early here. And it is ultimately disappointing to see two of the three winners already gone at this stage, because it makes you wonder, well, what other winners could we have seen in the place of these very recent winners? You know, like, had we potentially seen Judd, aka Fabio, come back, I would have loved that. One of my personal favorite winners, Mike Holloway, I would have loved for him to come back at some point. You know, it's unfortunate to see these winners who have played well ultimately get shafted because, you know, they did.
Guys, pregame, look, there's so much pre-gaming talk or whatever that happens. It's like, oh, people are pre-gaming. You're not going to stop pre-gaming. It doesn't matter how hard you try. Pre-gaming will happen. Like, and that's just a part of the game. Now,
sorry.
Around it, they can edit around it. They can do what they can to fix it. It just happens. And what I don't like about people talking about pre-gaming is they always are like, oh, pre-gaming, gross. The editor's got to do more. The people got to do more. There's nothing you can do. It's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I 100% agree. Like, the more you call out pre-gaming, I feel like the worse it's going to get. Like, the more they're going to do it out of spite. So, do we have anything else we want to say about episode 2, or are we kind of just...
I will like to point out something. At least, like, I was watching this, like, live, which is, like, the first time, like, I can say that for this new era. And I was just going into Tribal. Like, once the commercial hit, I was like, oh, like, it's probably, like, they didn't really edit it to be like, oh, Savannah's in danger. They more edited like, oh, are we going to do Ozzy or Joe? That's kind of how I felt like the edit was going. And all of a sudden, Tribal hit, and it's just like, okay, what the fudge? Why is Savannah just going home now? Like, right. I feel like they're not doing a great job editing, like, or like telling stories. Because, like, the first one, yeah, that was obvious that Jenna was going.
Yeah.
Like, this one, it's just like we barely heard from Savannah, or like,
right.
It just seemed like, oh yeah, Savannah's name's out there, but like, let's focus on Ozzy and Joe right now.
Right.
And then like just Tribal, it's just like, not all Savannah. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like they could have given us more like a, hey, this is happening, instead of just whiplashing us to be like, yeah.
Right. So with that in mind, we do get to the end of the second episode. I just want to kind of give my general thoughts. I think it's off to a strong start. I definitely agree with what you just said, Joey. The editing is very off. So I think they definitely need to do a little bit better of a job showing what's going on. And I'm hoping this isn't a situation like 48 where they're trying to ignore a lot of what's really going on in favor of like 2 to 3 people to glaze them and then just not show what's actually going on. So, yeah.
I also feel like the issue of the editing is also they have 24 people. Like the most they've ever done before this is 20. Yeah. Now they got like 24 people they gotta like include. So like It's hard to include everyone. But just I feel like the same people are getting the same amount of content. Like we've heard enough of Ozzy. Like don't put him on the screen, okay?
Yeah, I don't need like a shitload of confessionals from Ozzy just talking about the same damn thing. Like,
Yeah.
I just, come on.
I'm pretty sure there's like
It does not work for Ozzy. Sorry.
I think there's like 4 or 5 people in that episode who didn't get any confessionals.
Yeah.
5 players.
Oh, that's close.
I definitely still agree. I went with my mantra that every single player should get at least one confessional in an episode, regardless of what happens. Like, I don't care. And this is one of the few Survivor things where I'm very like on that about. Where like if you have the confessionals and you have the footage, show it. Like show something of it. Like, I don't know. But what are y'all's predictions? Who do y'all think is gonna go next? Because I think they do reveal
well, there's a tribe swap next episode.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you guys
we can
saw
talk
that,
about
but
we can talk about the new tribes if we want to.
I mean
We don't know them though, do we?
they
Well,
they
are
them out
there.
there's on Twitter.
Oh,
You can figure them out
cool.
through like previews as well.
I didn't,
Yeah.
hold on,
Yeah,
let me
true, you haven't-
briefly look
You
up
can
the
figure out some of them through the previews, I think. But maybe
Yeah.
not
yeah, we
all of them,
saw Rizzo and Charlie talking, which I think I can see those two going well together. Let me see.
Okay, I mean, I also have the tribes pulled up if we want to
but-
talk.
Yeah, I got
Well-
them. Yeah, we can talk about them.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah. Actually, wait. And
There's 21 people left, so obviously they're going to keep 3 tribes, and it'll be 7 each. So
Oh, that's
why there's no opening credits yet for like the Ancient Voices theme song for Survivor 50 yet?
yeah, I'm really waiting for that intro song. It's
Yep.
I know you got
Yeah.
24 names, and like Joey said, it's tough fitting everybody in, but y'all are a $1 billion corporation. Y'all can figure it out.
Right. For
And
the
yeah,
do we want to talk about the new tribes then briefly then, or
yeah.
we can just. I was like, we can either talk about them or just like say our general thoughts on them. Because looking through it, I don't think Sila's going tribal. Like they have Sari, but like everyone else on their tribe is either really good at like physical elements or like really good at puzzles.
Like, CeeLo's going to tribal. They have Rick Devens.
No, they do have Rick Devens, but they
Go
have, that's fair. But on the counterpoint, they have Jonathan, who I believe never went to a tribal.
And they
So
have Charlie.
we've got a
who has the
movable
power of
field versus
Taylor Swift.
unstoppable object thing. Nice.
Yes.
right?
I think
You
that
have Charlie
turns
with the power of the Swifties. You know, I don't know. Maybe Sela could do better with this lineup. I don't know.
It's just-
As far as like, it's interesting though, because if you look at the dynamics of the original tribes, with the new Sela, you're looking at 4 from teal, 2 from orange, and Rizzo, the only one from pink. So that's certainly a rough boat for Rizzo to find himself in on this new tribe going into episode 3. We'll see what he can do with that.
But like,
Yeah.
to be fair, the 3-4 kind of, I feel like Jonathan's gonna be targeting D no matter what,
Yeah.
because Jonathan has something against D, and it's just, I feel like it's just gonna be D versus Jonathan at that point, if like that catches on, and I think they just get rid of D. So I think D's kind of screwed on that tribe.
I just want to ask this: does anyone think people's bags are going to be searched
Yeah.
on the new tribe?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Are they going to show it? Probably not, but it's going to
They
happen.
probably won't. Yeah, they never do. I mean, because what I was trying to say before when talking about Survivor Wisconsin is that at one point in the game, everyone was instructed to kind of put their bags together in the same area, regardless of whether they were in or out of the game. We were all told to put our bags together to make the illusion for possible promos, to make it look like, oh, you don't know who's in and who's out. And like, regardless, like, of whether we were out or in the game, we were all told put your bags in the same place, which I think prevented a lot of stuff revolving around searching bags during the season. But I mean, again, it is Survivor. Like, bag searching is a prominent thing. And like you called out before with Converse is Chaos, Sam, like, I don't think anyone searched your bag, right?
Nope. I held that shit with my life.
I also feel like it's different for playing like in real life, where it's just like it's like a day thing. Like I wouldn't search on Survivor. I might search someone's bag because like I feel like after a couple days you're like, oh yeah, I know this person. Like I feel comfortable. Let me search their bag. If you just met someone on one day and is going through their bag, there is something clinically wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like that's just messed up, or at least that's just my opinion. I don't know. People.
It's
are
a bad
weird.
move. I'll say that. It's
Yeah,
a
if
bad
someone
move.
catches you, you're just done.
There is such a short
Old.
game.
Yeah.
Right. I do think it is funny that like kind of like how every bag has a ton of beads. Like I mean, all these bags in Survivor now are the exact same. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some stuff.
We can probably move on to the next tribe then, the new Kalo or the new Teal tribe.
Screwed.
Well, because
They're
there's like majority of the tribes, and by the way, if people watching this have any questions for us regarding Survivor 50, definitely start asking your questions now, and then we'll get to them in a few minutes to answering them. But back to general thoughts for for the new tribe swap. I think I know, I forget which ones they are, but I know two of the tribes have like a 3-3-1 split where it's very clearly like 3 people from each of the original tribes and plus like 1 person. And I think there's another one that's kind of mixed with like a bunch of random people where it's like 4 to 5 from one tribe and there's like 1 from the other 2 tribes or something. It's like a 4-2-1 or like a 5-1-1, right?
I can read them off real quick if that's okay, because like as I was trying to say, like you got Kalo, the new Kalo tribe with 3 original Kalo, 3 original Vatu, and then Joe is the original Sela, the only original Sela there. And yeah, that'll be similar dynamics to what Rizzo might be facing, but it is very interesting with the new Kalo. You have Chrissy and Coach on the same tribe again. They were pretty tight on original Kalo, so one can imagine they're going to work together. It's very hilarious how Aubrey and Genevieve are still on the same tribe, considering they both have angst towards each other. So who knows who might end up biting a bullet there if this tribe goes to council. So yeah, it's a whole new game. And a lot of these people that haven't been getting enough confessionals and enough screen time are finally about to start. Hopefully, well, they are playing the game, but like hopefully the production team will start showing it more.
Right, I'm hoping they show them. I'm hoping we get to see more from a lot of people because I feel like we haven't seen a lot from Camilla. We haven't seen a lot from like Chrissy or even Dee, which I'm surprised because Dee was one of the biggest names going in. Like she adjusted the Challenge 41 right before they went out there. So like I'm just surprised that she's not like a big name. She's so big that other like all sorts of other shows want Dee. Like
yeah.
And my biggest issue is that like Tiffany's on the season, and like personally from her first time, I was like, why is she back?
Yeah.
And like instead of trying to like prove like, oh, this is why you brought her back, they just ghost her. Like I think she has like 1 or 2 confessionals the entire season so far.
She's done nothing so far.
Yeah, she has like she talked about wanting to work for Camilla and Dee.
She should have been second chances too instead of
50.
Like right. Like it just they should have had someone like a T-Bird, a Natalie Bolton, someone who's gonna be hard to bring back in the future versus someone like a Tiffany. And I like Tiffany, but like I like Tiffany, but it's just kind of like this was not the season for her. And this is what I mean when I said the casting for this season was so questionable. Because why do you get people like Tiffany and Jonathan over people like Jonathan Penner or Carolyn or Jesse Lopez or like Shannon Ricard or T-Bird, Sean Rector, Natalie Bolton, Shane Powers? Like there's just so much casting that's just wonky.
No, I could probably explain why Jonathan and Tiffany got brought back. Jonathan flipping. Jeff loves his challenge beast, and he defeated the notion.
The amount of stuff I want to say about fucking I can't even say it because it'd probably be too inappropriate for YouTube, but like
and we're already going on 2 hours.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Yeah. And then also like Tiffany's there just to beef with you. Like that's it.
Right. That's kind of like
Francesca make it far, just beef. Like that's it.
Right.
Real quick, I'll just say the final tribe because I've said the other 2. New Vatu, you've got 3 original Vatu, 3 original Sela, and then you have Mike White as the only Talo, or the only Teal tribe person on the new Vatu. I think it's interesting though. This is probably the most chaotic of the 3 tribes because we got some very interesting dynamics here. Christian and Emily Flippin were able to stay together. They're tight. We know Q and Stephanie are working together in the majority of original Vatu. And there's Ozzy, there's Angelina, who are typically on the outs of their own tribes, to be honest. And you could argue that Mike White could be in danger of being the only teal original and being, the White Lotus creator, and for being rich and for having a six-pack and incredible body and such. In all honesty, Mike White's saving grace is the fact that somehow in this merge swap, he wound up with his two other buddies from David versus Goliath, being Christian and Angelina. And now they're all on this tribe together. They could potentially reel in Emily. It could be very fun to watch.
Well, the big thing I want to say, I feel like two of these tribes, I feel like it's kind of obvious what's about to happen in all three of these tribes. Like one tribe, it's like 5-1-1 or 4-2-1 split. That group's just going to stick together on that tribe, I assume, and there's not going to be many flips going on unless something massive happens. But the other two tribes that are like a 3-3-1 split, it's probably going to be either A, it becomes a war between those two tribes, or B, they just don't give a shit and they decide, let's work together and get rid of the one person who's not from either of our tribes and to just work it out from there.
Keep in mind as well, though, this is returning player season. That
Right.
might apply in a normal season where it's like all new players.
That's true.
There are so many different levels of interplay going into this that we'll see. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think every tribe is going to stick tribal lines at all.
Are there any people who we think are 100% guaranteed to go home in the next few episodes, or someone we just do not see going far given their edit up to this point?
Joe,
I don't know.
actually looking at the tribe, I think Joe might be fine. But
I think Joe's fine. I'm worried for Genevieve.
Yeah, her. I feel
I feel like Aubrey is gonna get spooked. She's gonna play her idol, and Genevieve's gonna get the backlash of it. Because if that tribe loses, I'm saying when this tribe loses, because I don't see any real chance that they could win. But we also said that about the original Pink tribe and flipping. We saw what they did. But I don't know if Aubrey can correctly read that she needs to play her idol, then I think Genevieve's just screwed. I feel like those two are just gonna go after each other.
Exactly. I kind of feel like it's almost concerning. It makes me question if one of the next three out of the game is Genevieve, Chrissy, or Camilla, because they're just doing a lot to either dogpile random shit on someone like a Chrissy or Genevieve, where it almost feels like they're trying to foreshadow something between Aubrey and Genevieve is about to happen, and they're making it look like Aubrey's about to pull it out somehow and stay alive. And then you get Camilla, who is just such an invisible character so far this season, and when we do hear anything about their alliance, it's never really from her perspective. It always feels like it's from someone else's perspective, and it just kind of makes it seem like, to me, it makes me feel like Camilla, Genevieve, or Chrissy are gonna unfortunately be one of the next three out of the game. Possibly the same with Angelina, with how much they dunked on her this past episode, which worries me for those three, because it's just, I don't know. I genuinely hope I'm wrong, because I genuinely really want to see Angelina, Chrissy, especially make the merge. I would love to see I'd love to see Camilla go far and actually have a good game again, a good run. I'd love to see. There's a lot of people in this cast I think I'd like to see go further on. I mean, the only person I think I'm kind of indifferent to right now is Charlie and Mike White. I mean, I don't care too much if they go. If Jonathan and Ozzy go next episode, great. But other than those four, I don't think I'm really I don't know. Maybe Tiffany. I don't really know. I kind of feel like those are the only five I'd really be fine seeing go. But I don't know. I feel like they're making an obvious. It's probably going to be Genevieve is one of the next few boots, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It just at least to me, it feels like they're hyping it up that there's going to be a Genevieve versus Aubrey rivalry, and that Aubrey last episode, I kind of feel like they're trying to hint that Aubrey wins out. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just going to be repeating more of what we've said, but it ultimately, yeah, they're not going to get everything perfect in this season, and ultimately, there's a lot of flaws with the editing. I have the total list of confessionals amongst these first two episodes, and granted, the first episode was twice as long as the second, so of course it's going to have over 100 confessionals. But if we're looking at the total amongst both episodes, we have 172 total confessionals amongst all 24 players. As we mentioned, 5 players all of them females, ironically. Tiffany, Stephanie, Christy, Angelina, and shockingly Camilla, considering what happens with Kyle in that episode.
Right.
All 5 of those women had no confessionals in episode 2. Dee has had a total of 2 confessionals, 1 in each episode. Tiffany, like I said, she had none in episode 2, and she only had 1 in episode 1. It's very apparent based on these trends in editing. It seems like some of these people are probably going to get booted pretty early, or at least some of these ones like Genevieve or potentially Aubrey, getting more content, but they're butting heads a lot. One of them's surely going to go pretty quickly. I don't know.
Exactly. Like, I 100% think that it's gonna. I kind of agree with that. I've been kind of like lost for a lot of words, so I guess I'm just like kind of tired. It's been a long night for me. But I didn't sleep good last night, so my words are just kind of like, yeah. But yeah.
But are we?
Yeah.
Are we as fans?
Sorry, I got distracted when Joey started laughing too. Sorry.
That comment is crazy.
Do we want to answer? Is there anything else we want to talk about with this, or do we want to go into questions?
I'm ready to go for questions.
Let's go to this question.
Yeah.
This question's amazing.
Okay, there's one question that was sent in like a while ago that they've been waiting for like 10-15 minutes now. For Sam, it says, Sam, have you played an LRG? What bag did you mean? So an LRG, for those of you who don't know, is a live reality game. They do a lot of games based off of a lot of stuff such as like Survivor, The Challenge, Traders, Big Brother, So, Sam, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so all 4 of us have played in the same LRG in like different seasons. Survivor Wisconsin. The season I played specifically was season 8. Both me and Joey played in season 8. And Richie and Steib above me were both on production for that season. And so that's why we were mainly talking about that. If you haven't already, go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
I did have an idol.
Shameless plug. Heroes versus Villains. They're airing right now. Heroes versus Villains 2. I am a villain. Villains have more fun. And currently, I am still in the game.
After one episode.
After one episode.
After one person has gone home.
Well, and I'm not the first one voted out this time, so that's good for me. Usually I'm the first voted out, so like
the channel is called Idol Identifiers, by the way.
Yes.
But yeah, if you look up Survivor Wisconsin, you'll find it.
It's such a fun game. I definitely recommend people like apply to play it. It's one of the Survivor games I 100% recommend. I've only played a few LRGs, but I always recommend Survivor Wisconsin.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
These are awesome. We love these. We started with just bandanas, and luckily our guy in charge, Devin, he was able to find a guy who makes custom buffs, and these are incredible. Yes.
Right, they're really cool. We've had like all sorts of seasons. Like I have way too many up here, but we have one for Conferences Chaos. I have up here. There's one for Second Chance. We had actually, Sab, do you have viewers you can just pull out, or for like Second Chance or Conferences Chaos?
I mean, yeah, I got the one from season 8.
Yeah, that was a merge one because Conferences Chaos. And there was like, yeah, you were in the Com Tribe. I have like the yellow one. Let me try.
I can grab the yellow one real quick.
Yeah, Sam's got the blue one. That's the merged one.
Yeah, this was the yellow one.
Yeah.
Then this was the Chaos Tribe. So I got the film Joey, and then
I had the film Tribe,
and then Sam had the merge one. Yeah. So with that in mind, oh yeah, custom buffs are so cool. They're always so cool to get like custom like buffs or shirts or anything like that. What the fuck is Converse's Chaos? Essentially, it was like a season twist. I actually came up with it years ago and sent it to them as an idea. Initially, I pitched it as an idea for like a returning season, but we ended up doing a newbie season, which worked out a lot better than I actually thought I was going to. Actually, I will say that. But it was a newbie season where essentially people came in saying if they were going to play calm or if they were going to play very chaotically. I think a couple people shifted around because it was harder to find women for that season. And
I got switched around at the last minute.
Yeah, I think it was like you and Tony got switched around with like Jamil and Kayla because they were worried about y'all. They were worried about.
We only had 3 women on a 14-player season. Yeah.
And there was
a 16-player season.
Yeah, I know there's some people.
Thank you.
I know some production members were concerned with like one woman, if they lost, then the one woman on one tribe just being an easy vote off was a concern a few people in production had. But
I'm sorry to interrupt. I do have to get going.
Yeah, we'll just answer last question, then we can close it.
Okay.
So because I know you were, I definitely assume you want to answer this. So, do you guys expect Mr. Beast to show up post merge with the temptation to quit?
God, I hope not.
I really hope not.
I hope not.
He's not going to do that.
Here's the thing. Even if he does, I don't think anyone wants to.
No.
Right.
He might.
Oh, God, I hope nobody would take that.
He wants to.
The fan backlash is going to be insane.
No.
Yeah.
But whatever Mr. Beast does, it's going to be backlash because it's Mr. Beast.
Right. Yeah, but I definitely think it's likely he could pull something like that, but I just don't think people would take it.
No.
Like,
he'll probably do like a challenge to win like money.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Or maybe something for the auction. Like they do an auction and then maybe that's what it is. Like, it's just like, be like, if you do this, you can get all the money in the auction and buy whatever you want. Like something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something like that.
It's probably like something that's like very minor. It's probably gonna be something that's like so minor that like we're all gonna be laughing and how we're freaking out about it now, but it's probably gonna be something so minor. Like fucking Jimmy Beast is probably laughing his ass off thinking about how stupid we all are for freaking out over it. Like
inside the briefcase is an Applebee's
burger,
and then Liz is pissed.
Okay, I'm sorry, I do need to get going. But
okay, we're gonna. We're gonna close.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you for coming on, Joey. As for the rest of us, I think we are gonna close off here anyways because I think that was just about it. So again,
I don't see any more questions. Yep.
Woo. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm hoping to do this on a bi-weekly basis. Hopefully the next time we do this, it'll be a hell of a lot faster. Obviously the premiere took up a good chunk of it. But,
it's 2 episodes.
Right, it's definitely 2 episodes. But yeah, we're definitely grateful for everyone who came in, tuned in to watch. Survivor Wisconsin Heroes vs. Villains 2 airs tomorrow on Idol Identifiers. Go watch it if you want to see me be a bitchy little hoe on TV again. I love doing it. Yeah, Steib has a heroes buff. I have the villains buff. Let's go. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up for this channel. Again, hoping to do a lot of very fun recaps and breakdowns like this for every other week for the episodes here for Survivor 50. I'm hoping to do some more live stream videos regarding like cast stuff. There's definitely another one Alex and I were going to do a month or 2 ago before 50, but we just didn't have time for it in our schedules, unfortunately. So we are going to be doing that hopefully after 50. I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's definitely a fun one that people will like. And then we're also going to do, hopefully I'll be back on track with doing posts a lot more regularly. Unfortunately, I kind of fell off of that the last couple months. That's my bad, but I'm hoping to get back on track with that. It's gonna be a lot of fun stuff coming up. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for staying on the channel, watching it. We have so much fun content and I cannot wait to get out for you. Again, I've been your host, Richie. I've been here with my co-host for today.
I've been Alex Steib. Thank you for watching.
I've been Salmon. It's been fun. See y'all.
Have a good day, everyone. Stay tuned for more soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.